me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. This thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip, it's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it.
Oh, right. Good morning, people. Hope everyone's good. After watching that England game last night, definitely wasn't the most intriguing game to watch. Definitely made a mountain out of a molehill there, and I think we was actually quite lucky to come out of that England game with a result there, because I think they actually had a few chances where they could have had us. That England team, the defence for me, I don't know, something looks like it isn't working with that lot. But either way, it's only the group stages. We're through now, so we're on to the next bit, and I'll leave it at that with England. I mean, to me, England are just as much of a pain in the arse as Spurs. They seem to have the teams at times, but never deliver. But there's been a few things going on with Tottenham at the moment. We keep hearing the same stories. Spurs are interested in this. Tottenham are interested in that. We're interested in that player. This could be happening. We could be selling this. But I'm not seeing nothing happen. It's like they say, actions speak louder than words. And okay, we've gone and got ourselves four signings, sorry. I mean, one of them, I don't even know why we got him, basically. The Bracker, the goalkeeper from Burnley. I don't know why we wasted our time with that. But then Robertson, for me, I think he's a good buy for a freebie. I can't complain with that. And I think if he stays fit, even though I know he's just busted himself in the World Cup. I mean, is that just because he's decided to be a Spurs player, he gets injured? It seems to happen to everybody else. But he's better than anyone else we've got on the left. He's better than the Dogie. He's better than Davis. Better than Spence. So then we went and got Senesi. Brilliant cover for the middle. Is he going to take Romero's place, or is that going to be left to Van Hecke? And we got them two as well. So that's four signings we've made. One of them we've paid significant money. It was one that obviously De Zerbi wanted. I mean, 50 million plus for that, for a defender who's got a year left on his contract. I do think we got done over a bit on that one for the prices we paid for it. But the situation we are in at the moment, and we have only got ourselves to thank for that, as in not us the fans, but as in Tottenham, is the only attraction we have got is money. And that is the only attraction we've got. And maybe that little bit of being in London. I can't see why that would attract anyone, but it does have that attraction. And with that, it's just going to be interesting to see how we go about these things. Because with money being our only pulling power, and every other club out there knows we are absolutely desperate for players out there. And they also know we're desperate on getting rid of a few players as well. So we're going to get overcharged with a couple of players. I mean, usually do in the Premier League anyway. because people know we've got the money and they know we are also desperate. And there's also players that I think we're just going to have to get rid of and cut our losses on. Because again, people know that we want those players gone desperately so we can build the team up again and build the other side to it. So one way or another, we're going to lose out. But it's just the risks and the consequences we have to take through finishing 17th for 2 seasons on the trot. And it is what it is, basically. In that one, we've just got to go with the flow. And let's see if Spurs can get their act together. I mean, I've been doing a bit of checking up on past couple of days on a couple of things going on. There's obviously a couple of things I want to mention on here. And I'll take it from there. Say hello to a couple of people and we'll go from there. And one other thing I can say, at least I can bloody breathe today. It doesn't feel like 35 degrees here, I think. What's it say here? 27 indoors. I can deal with that one. I can breathe with that. Anyway, Buzzard, I'll just read out your name there. It's the easiest way to do it. 2 Mark Trade. Thanks a lot, Mark. I was watching your show. Always a good one to watch. And morning, Mr. E. Morning. John Stokes, morning, mate. Hope you're good. Big up Dan in the chat. Big up to you, fella. And also, is that Marianne? 2 Marks Raid, thanks a lot. Morning to all. And Drew as well. 2 Marks Raid. Big up Dan in chat. Big up to you. Also, Tom, how we doing, fella? Good morning. Good morning to you. And also, Drew saying hello to Tom. Ran, big up, Dan. Big up to you too, mate. Hope everything's good. And Tony, how we doing, fella? We're Sweden out there as well. Hope things good for you, fella. And big up Dan and the guests and the chat with Ghost as well. Hope you're good as well, mate. Big up Dan and Kay. How we doing? Did you have your cup of coffee this morning? I actually had my first cup of coffee this morning for quite a while now because it actually felt cool enough to have a cup of coffee. Last thing I wanted to do is be boiling hot and then have a cup of coffee. But then you know what the mad thing is I do here is when it's really hot out there, one of the best things to have to cool you down is a cup of tea. It's actually meant to make you feel like you're cooling down. Now, that one I'll have to see it to believe it, but it's one thing a few people have told me. When it's boiling hot, you go and have a cup of tea, a hot cup of tea, because it'll cool you down. I'm sorry, that makes no logical sense for me. So someone will have to show that to me, or I'll have to go and try it myself. And some also saying, morning to Drewler, and also saying it's getting cooler. Yes, mate, it's getting breathable. Thank God for that, because I do struggle in these weathers, because it feels like, especially when living in London, you feel like you've got a car or a bus sitting on your chest. Take me out to Ibiza where it's 40, Zante, Malia, all the places you used to go, Ayia Napa. Yeah, you get up to 40 to 45 degrees out there at times. And yeah, you come back pretty red and burnt, but you could breathe. I think that's the biggest problem, and how humid it is as well. I mean, 35% humidity in the air. That is not nice. I mean, you walk out the place and you feel like you come out the shower, dry yourself. By the time you get back into the front room, it feels like you've just walked out the shower again, where you're just sweating it off that bad. Pete, yeah, big up, Dan, big up to you too, mate. And also, what's that? 7974, just easy way to do it. Good morning, Dan and chat. Morning to you too, mate. And Tom also saying to Ghost, Ryan, John, Pete, and everyone. Right, so let me get into this. I'll start off with obviously the one everyone is talking about. And I see a fair few people want to see it happen, but I also see a lot of people don't want it to happen. Mark, thanks a lot, mate. Much appreciated. Smash like for a great channel, people. Thanks a lot for sending everyone over, mate. Much appreciated. And everyone, make sure you also like and subscribe to theirs. They're getting right up there on the rankings now for a lot of hard work, what they deserve. So cheers, Mark. It's appreciated, mate. But going back with the Tonali thing, I've seen a lot of people obviously interested, obviously wanting. I mean, he is a top player, in my opinion. I've watched him since he was at AC Milan, rated him now. He also had the ratings there that he was going to be the next Pirlo, basically. That one, no, he didn't live up to. I mean, Pirlo, for me, was a world-class player and got even better when he hit 30, when he left AC and went Juventus. He was an outstanding player. And I thought Tonali was going to live up to those standards. No, he hasn't quite gone that far, but I think he's a solid, adaptable player. Very good at progressing with the ball, good at forward passing with the ball, and also willing to take a risk. not always pass it sideways or pass it backwards. That gets annoying in a game. How are you meant to progress in a game when your players, especially your midfielders, as all they do is pass sideways? It's not going to do you no favours. And I also like the fact that he's willing to take a few risks, because we don't have many players that do that. And then I've also seen a lot of people, quite a few people, stating that they don't think he's good enough for Spurs. He's not right for what we need. And I sit there, I just think, I see this year in, year out, where I hear quite a few people say, oh, this player isn't good enough. I mean, like last season, some people going on about, I mean, I said we should have got Jack Grealish on loan. Okay, he got injured, but forget the injury bit. I said we should have got him on loan, so did a few others. But a lot of people were saying Jack Grealish weren't good enough for us. Well, I think he's more than better than what we had on there. I mean, who would you pick, Grealish or Tell? I know where I'm going. I'm sure there's one or two out there that pick Tell, but my point is, Tonali is significantly better than anything we have in midfield. The way I'd rate him as a player is a rich man's Bentancur, basically. They play a similar style of football, I would say. Bentancur does sit back a bit more than Tonali, but Tonali is more than capable of playing that role as a deep line playmaker, as a 6, whatever you want to call it, and an 8. And if pushed, he can also cover a 10 position. 10 isn't his main position, but like Gallagher, he can cover it. And he's also a very adaptable player to formations as well, into a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2, whatever way it goes. And I'd say he's one of those players of what you'd call a jack of all trades, but a master of none. I think that's what we need at the moment. By one position where we need a master of someone scoring goals, without a doubt. But I think he's the ideal person that we do need at Spurs. Apart from playing in his position, he can also cover positions if we need to. But him and Gallagher next to each other, I think would work very good. Both got an extremely good engine on them. Both can progress well. Okay, Gallagher's passing isn't too great, whatever, but he can come back when Tonali presses forward, and vice versa. They can almost cover each other on a double pivot. I think them two would work well together, and you'd have two very strong people there, work engines there. And that is one thing we've definitely lacked at the club. Definitely haven't had. Do I think he's worth 100 million? Do I think any player is worth 100 million? There's not many out there that I would say are worth 100 million personally. But it's just the way it is now. It's just the way the money is now. It's crazy. To go and get an average player these days, you're talking 40, 50 million. I mean, we pay over 40 million, or was it 40 million for fucking Archie Gray, for God's sake. The prices are stupid out there now. But then there's that other side of it. It's not my money, so why should I care? Do I feel we can do better than Tonali for that sort of money? Maybe there's one or two you can ask questions with. But it would be a purchase for us that would stand out, that would mean something. No, he's not a world-class player, but he's an extremely good player in my opinion. And it would be that big signing that we haven't had for a very long time, basically. I mean, who's been the biggest signing we've made on paper over the past 5 years? Some would say Van der Ven, but who was Van der Ven? He'd only had one good season before he come to us. Another player purely bought potential because he'd had one good season and was expecting him to adapt and get better. So for me, that's a player bought on potential. He'd had one solid season. Tonali's had a few solid seasons and he is established. He knows the Premier League as well. I'd say probably the biggest name we've signed is possibly Romero. And that was only because he was quite universally known, because Messi spoke about him and because he just got Defender of the Year in Italy. But again, that was over one good season. We don't usually go out and buy established quality players. I mean, would you call Gallagher an established player? Yes. An experienced player? Yes. As a quality player? No. But as a good player? Yes. We don't go out and buy these players. We seem to just go for the younger ones of late. and hit and hope and go for potential. If you keep going for potential, you end up where we have ended up, and that is 17th. 2 seasons back to back, and this one nearly getting relegated. 3 strikes and you're out, basically. I think one advantage we do have next season, I think the 3 teams come up, I don't think they look very strong. Okay, we'll see what it says after the transfer window, but I don't want to have to be relying on the other 3 teams that have come up being that poor for us not to get relegated. I mean, next season, if we go and pull off a 10th place, a 9th place, I'm not really going to complain because we finished 17th 2 seasons on the trot. I mean, ideal would be 7th or 8th, basically, and also depending on who we buy as well. But we've got to get back up that table and we've got to get back into the game, basically. And to do that, we're going to have to get rid of a significant amount of players, but we're going to have to bring in players as well for that first 11, not just squad players. The hardest one, I think, is going to actually be getting rid of some of the players. I mean, because some of them have been that poor, who is going to want to buy them? And we know what this club's like. We seem to ask a lot of money for players that aren't necessarily worth that sort of money. That was definitely a Daniel Levy trick. But Daniel Levy isn't here anymore. Daniel Levy is gone. And this is going to be the first proper window, basically, without him. Okay, we had the January window, but we know that could be ifs, buts, and maybes. This is going to be the first summer window without Daniel Levy. So it's like with the picture that I put on here. I'll say it again on there. The Levy era is done. Prove it. Pay the money. Now, I do get it's not quite as simple as that. There's a lot more to it and everything else. And especially with £100 million deal. That's not going to get done in 5 minutes. But if we keep pissballing about and keep sitting there and just plodding along like we have been known to do, we are going to end up losing out on players like we usually do because we take too long or try and mess about with a deal too long. And we're going to have to be careful because if we want to go for good, significant players, other teams will be interested. It's like Fernandez as well. Do you know what? If I'm going to be honest, that Fernandez from West Ham is one that I'm not too keen on. Personally, I think there's better out there that we could get for a lesser price. But I'll keep you on Tonali for the second, yeah? I think he's a player that we can actually get. When you add it all up, Newcastle are not a rich club. They might have rich owners, but they are not a rich club in spending power that they're allowed to spend, basically. We all know how the FFP works and everything else. And up north, again, people don't like the way I phrase this, but it's just a fact. The further up north you get, the poorer it gets. I could sell my property here and buy 2 4-bedroom houses up north for what I could sell this property for. Why? Because everything's cheaper. It gets poorer the further north you go. Why do you think Liverpool, Man U, Man City, Newcastle, Villa can't even charge the same season ticket prices as bloody Fulham or Crystal Palace? Newcastle want to spend some money. They've just had, what is it? Is it 80, 85 million coming for Gordon? And they definitely need some players in that team. They go and sell Tonali for, let's say, 100 mil to us. That's 185 spending power they've got. They can then go out and get at least 4 solid players with money they will have anyway at about 60 million apiece for the first team and significantly make that team or that squad better. That is why I think they are interested in selling it. So that's one side I can see it happening now. Other teams have said they're interested, or it's looked like they're interested. Arsenal. I don't see that one happening. Why? Because I think Arsenal won't necessarily be willing to spend 100 million on a player that they're going to use as a bit of a rotation player. Because I don't think he gets in the team over Declan Rice. Okay, different types of players, but I don't think they'll do that. And I think Arsenal have got more important positions that they need to sort out. Their left wing being one of them. I think they've got more important things to go and spend 100 million or 50 and 50, whatever way you want to put it. Not saying that they won't look at him, but I think they've got more important things to look at. Man U, I don't think they need him personally. Chelsea, no, don't see that one happening. City, they've just gone and got Anderson for, what is it, 116 million? I mean, is he worth that? Again, for me, not quite, but it's just the price you pay these days. And who else is there? Man City, Aston Villa wouldn't need to go for him. They've got a very solid centre midfield. Liverpool ain't going to go for him. And then you look abroad. Other teams that could afford him. Munich, no, they're not going to bother with that. I don't see that one happening. PSG, no. In Italy, no one can afford him, bar Como. But they've got to have a couple of seasons in the Champions League before they can start spending the money. You watch, give it another 3-4 years, they're going to win that Serie A. You heard it here first. And does anyone see Real Madrid or Barcelona going for it? No. So after that, I know it goes down in the pecking order, but I'd say we are the most legit team that can sign him. We can pay his wages if we choose to pay those sort of wages, and we can also cough up the money if needs be. But this is where we got to finally put the money on the table. Like Rand said yesterday on 2 Mark's show, and totally agreed with him on this one, and I think it got mentioned on Mark's show earlier, is let's put the money down on the table. If we've got this 200 million to spend, 300 million, bloody billion, whatever it is they're saying we've got to spend, put the money on the table. There you go. There's your offer. 100 million. Okay, it's not going to be in one lump, but whatever way they do it, 100 million, there you go. You got 2 or 3 days now. And we want an answer. If you don't get an answer in the 2 or 3 days, right, fuck off. We're going to go to our next player now. But then that is where we need a plan. That is where we need to know, whereas if it doesn't work with Tonali, who we want to go for from there. Not end up doing what we did with Gallagher, and that was searching for him for the whole window and then getting nobody. And like we have done with other players as well. Morgan Gibbs-White, Eze, pushing on them for the whole season. It doesn't work, and then we had nobody to turn to. Or, like with Eze, we left it too long, and Arsenal got the injury. And I think with Eze, if we would have done that 2 weeks earlier, put the money on the table, I personally think we would have got that deal through. Because I think Arsenal went and got him because they wanted to win that league, and they just got a major injury and knew they needed a top player for that position. And that's what winners go and do. But we piss-balled about too much. Tried to get the little deal out of it. And that's how we lose out a hell of a lot of the time. So go and put the money on the table. Show you mean business. Give them an offer that they're not really going to refuse. And then you hear the other stuff as well, like wages and contracts has all been sorted out and everything else. I mean, it does go back to front. You do hear a lot of that they're not allowed to talk to the players before they sort it out with the club. But either way, that's meant to be sorted out. We'll take that one with a pinch of salt. Go and get the fucking job done. Go and give him the 2 days. If they don't answer to it, then we got to go elsewhere. He's a player I really want at the club. And I know a few others ain't as interested in him, but he's significantly better than what we have. And it would be a standout signing. And it might also make other players glance over at the club thinking, maybe De Zerbi is going to get a say in this. Maybe Spurs are going to push for something this year. Who knows? But he's significantly better than what we got. I mean, what does anyone else think on that? I mean, I read a lot of stuff on there, but who genuinely thinks on here? I'm just looking at the bottom now, that Tonali is not right, that he's not the sort of player we should be going for. Does anybody on here actually think that? Because I'm just scrolling through at the moment and I'm not seeing anyone say that right now. No, I'm not seeing anybody say that, but I have seen it on quite a few others. So next one I'll go to, Fernandes from West Ham, 75 million. No, I'm sorry, that one's not for me. I don't think he stood out and done anything particularly special at West Ham, but then again, you could say, did anybody do anything particularly special at Spurs? Not really. And for 75 million, I personally think we can do a lot better than Fernandes. I feel there is significantly better out there than Fernandes that we could go and get. And the one I keep mentioning, people, is look at that Italian league. I follow it as much as I follow the Premier League. There is a lot of quality in that league, and there are about 18 desperate clubs in there for money. That league is not rich in any means or manner. It needs money. The clubs desperately need money, even to the point that Juventus are now having to put some of their best players up for sale because they need the money. I mean, Levy gone, what are you saying there? I've just seen this mentioned on the side. Tonali is perfect, in my opinion, exactly what we need. And then we obviously need other players, but perfect for that position we need there. People are downplaying his passing game big time because of how Hal plays. Well, when we go and look at his stats, I can't bring his stats up, but his passing game is not bad at all. Okay, his percentage of passing isn't perfect, but that's because he actually takes risks as a player, which I want a player to take risks. Not be all the time, but take some bloody risks to get the ball forward. Don't always go for that easy pass. And Tony, what you're saying there, mate, 80% of our fan base are happy with bang average players. I totally agree, mate. And mediocrity, and they want to keep Bergville and Gray for fuck's sake. I agree with you, mate, totally on that one. And Tom, what you're saying there, not sure about Fernandez, too much for me. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that one. And what you're saying there, get Greenwoods. We've all heard it. Personally, that's a player I'd snap up straight away. But that's a different story. Fernandez, I'm just not keen on that idea. For me, he hasn't really stood out to anything special, at least, especially for 75 million. I really don't think 75 million is a price that I would pay for him personally. I mean, if it's who De Zerbi wants at the end of the day, I suppose we're just going to have to go with the manager, aren't we? But I don't think Fernandez is the one, and I know there's significantly better out there that we could get a better price on. I mean, I'll bring this up on here. Give me a second. At that stage, there we go. What we have on here is Mateus, Fernandez, and we also have Tonali. Tonali in blue, Fernandez in yellow. Now, when you actually look at Fernandez there, he does stand out more in his forward passes percentage that he gets done. And he does stand out on passes won. But for me, for 75 million and what he's played at West Ham, I just don't think he's the player we want. On this, it almost looks like he's better. But then when we go into the depth and look at it, neither of them are goal scorers. So if we're going to do it, then I say it goes for De Zerbi for one or the other. I would still pick Tonali all day long. I think he's more of a complete player. But the stats are half saying otherwise there with Fernandez. But for 75 million, he's just, for me, he's not the one. And I can give you a better player in a minute who I go for, or I think he's quite possibly better than both of those players. I mean, get one or the other. If we can't get Tonali, then go and get Fernandez, if that's what De Zerbi wants to do. But I don't think we need both of them. I mean, the player I would personally go for, and I would willing to spend 75 million on him, but we wouldn't have to spend that on him. There's two players at the club I'd go for. Where am I? Manu Kone from Roma. There we go. In the purple. I'll take Fernandez. I mean, look how he stands out basically over the pair of them. Okay, possession one, Fernandez is better, but the rest of it, he stands out over the pair of them. He's an extremely good player in my position. In what I think, he's an excellent player, and they got him dirt cheap as well. I think it was about 30 million they paid for him, and yet we go and pay 40 million for Archie Gray, and I had enough people tell me that no, Kone isn't good enough. Gray is going to be excellent and everything else. There is a player, Manu Kone, that I would honestly go and put in. There he is in the purple there. I forgot to add that on there. I was looking on the thing there. Look at him on the purple. It stands out over both of them. He is a player that I would go and spend 75 million. And I think he would be worth it in every means and manner. Do I think we'd have to pay for that? No, I don't. Because like I said, the money in Italy is tight. The fact that Juventus are having to sell up. I mean, you look at what happens in Italy. A lot of the time they spend money. People told me last season, yeah, but certain clubs spent 200 million in Italy. Yes, and if you check up the players they sold, they also sold players for up to 150, 160 million as well. And so they actually only spent about 30 to 40 million. And some of them didn't even spend money. They basically made their money back on what they sold and everything. And that is how it's been working in Italy for a while. Kone would be an excellent player. He can play as a 6, he can play as an 8. You could even have him pushing forward as the 10 when needs be, but he's not a 10 position. But he's forward progressing, he's passing, he can carry the ball. He's a good player. He's what I would call a box-to-box attacking player. Because for me, you have two types of box-to-box. You have your box-to-box that's more defensive, and you have your box-to-box that's more attacking as such. Basuma, box-to-box, more attacking. I mean, one thing that fella could not do was defend. And if he had a better brain on his shoulders, I think there was a very good player there. But he just never lived up to it because he didn't have the head for it. Go out and put the 60, 70 million on for Kone. His wages won't be stupid either. And there is a player significantly better than Fernandes. If you actually give me the option, I'd pick Kone over Tonali. Out of them three, Kone is the one who I'd pick. I think he is the better player significantly than the pair of them. Tonali is the one we're going for. But you look at that, 100 million. We don't know what money we could get Kone for, but I personally think go stick 60, 70 million on the table, Roma sell him. They're tight up on money, just like Lazio, just like AC Milan, just like Juventus, just like Inter, just like all the others. I mean, Inter are winning leagues, they're in the Champions League regular, and they're hard up on money. So are a lot of other teams in Italy. So go out there and bully them with a bit of money, which we have actually got the power to do. Okay, we go and put in the bid for him. A bigger club comes and does it and gets it. It's going to happen. But if we don't try, we don't get. So with that aspect, why don't we go and do it? Especially when you can see he's a more established, better player than Fernandes. I mean, there's another one that I would want to go for at Roma, and this is where at Roma I'd be willing to put 100 if I had the money myself and money to spend. And say Spurs have got 200 million to spend, I'd spend 120 million on these two alone. Obviously, we could sell players. I'd want to get Miles Sevilla. I can't pronounce his name. Sevilla, Roma's goalkeeper. There is another very good up-and-coming goalkeeper, established goalkeeper, and also going to get better. If I remember right, he's about 26. And I've watched him play quite a few times. I think he is a solid goalkeeper. If I remember, what was it last season? I think he had, 15, 16? I think he had more than 15 clean sheets, if I remember right. Don't hold me gospel. Yeah, it was more than 15 clean sheets he had last season. And he didn't concede that many either. And a goalkeeper is another thing that I think we need. Maybe not so desperately as we need other positions, but for me, a goalkeeper is just as important as a striker. A goalkeeper can win you games. A goalkeeper can win you cups. A goalkeeper can stop you getting relegated. Same as a striker can. I mean, we've all got our own different styles of football, how we would play and everything. Me personally, if I was a manager, I would go more of a pragmatic counter-attacking style of football. I like to have a solid goalkeeper. I like to have a solid defence and then build on the counter-attack from there. Because one thing you definitely have to have is a good bloody defence. Because there aren't many teams out there that have got the quality to basically say, you score 3, we score 4. I mean, we tried that with Ange and didn't get very far with it, did we, in that aspect? So I think we also need a goalkeeper. I mean, Kingsley, this is another thing with it as well. Don't get me wrong. For what Kingsley screwed up, I was one of the ones who thought, you know what, he's never going to see football in the Premier League or at Spurs again. I didn't think he would. The mentality the fella's got on him, take me out to him. Fair play, mate. No two ways about it. Because there's so many others who would have there's so many others who would have just fallen to pieces on that. And he didn't. He came on, he was strong, he played well. Fair play, mate. Quality. Well done. But I'm sorry, you're not changing my mind that you are now my first-class keeper over 5 fucking games. But this is one thing I seem to find that a lot of fans are quite guilty at Spurs. As all it takes is a couple of games or one game and someone changes their opinion straight away. A lot of people wanted Ange out consistently. He goes and wins us the cup. It all swings round. He deserves a chance. Or Kingsky, deserve don't work for me. I'm not sentimental in this aspect. When it comes to football, I'm quite heartless. I don't care about the player. I don't give a fuck about the player. As long as he does a job on the pitch, that is all I'm bothered about. What he does off the pitch, I couldn't care less. Do I care that someone has played for us for 10 years and been brilliant but not capable anymore? Oh, we should keep him because he's had a good 10 years? No, get rid of him. If he's not good enough, let him go. Baked potato. See you later, mate. But at Spurs, we don't seem to do that. We seem to want to cling on to players. I'm more than happy we're keeping Kingsky as our second goalkeeper. But for 5 games, are you telling me over 5 games that all of a sudden he has shown he's worth it? Some can turn around and say, you could say he stopped us getting relegated with a couple of saves he had. Okay, fine. But then we can also turn around and say Vicario did make some very good saves during the season and stopped us losing a game as well. So by a couple of saves, are we now going to say that he is now our established number one goalkeeper? Not for me. I think he has a fair bit more to prove than that. Now, after 20, 30 games, you see him established, being consistent, then yeah. But he hasn't even got Premier League experience, really, bar altogether, 8 or 9 games altogether? And people are willing to have him as our first choice goalkeeper. No, for me, I would want to go out and get a solid goalkeeper as well. But I don't think we're going to do that with goalkeeper. I think we are going to stick with basically Kingsky in goal. We've got the backup goalkeeper, and we're going to try and sort it out in midfield and up front because we've already got our defence covered there. But me personally, I would go out and spend 50 million on a solid goalkeeper. Go get me Costa as well. Another quality goalkeeper at Porto. I think he's a good goalkeeper. He's definitely one we could do with there. It's another one that I think we could go and spend 40, 50 million, get him, and we've then got a significantly better goalkeeper than what we've got. Goalkeepers are important. A lot of people just look at it and seem to think goals are the main thing. Yes, of course you need goals to win fucking games. But you need a solid goalkeeper as well. What teams have gone out there and won significant stuff without a solid goalkeeper? That is one thing you need. What's this going on here? Oh, Tyrell Gunner TV. Thanks a lot, mate. Appreciated. I had to give you the break today, bro. Fair enough, mate. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, fella. So that is why I want a good goalkeeper. Because like I said, I think they are as important as a bloody striker. And what's Lewis saying on here? The plan is probably to make Kingsky number 1 and Dubravka not a great plan, to be honest. Yeah, I agree with that one. And Levy gone, no, man, Costa is trash. So many errors. I don't think he's trash, not at all. I think he's a good goalkeeper. Do I think he's one of the best out there? No, but I think he's significantly better than what we've got. I mean, you give me the choice, the one I go for, and the realistic one is, like I said, Miles Sevilla. If that's how you pronounce his fucking name. That is who I go for. So I'd be willing to put 120 million on the table. Give me the Kone and give me Sevilla. I reckon we could get that job done for that. Personal opinion. No one to know unless we do it, unless it happens. And for that, like we've already seen on there, and like a lot of people have seen it and said it, Kono would be more. It just seems more legit than going for Fernandes for 75 million. That one I just can't get my head around that. But we'll see what happens with it. I mean, the other ones I see that we're being interested in as well at the moment. Gakpo. Again, better than what we've got, basically. Would I be willing to take the risk with that one? Yeah. Don't think he's been great at Liverpool, but I think it just looks like where we are just that poor up front that we'd just be willing to take average players because they would make us look significantly better. I mean, you look on that left-hand side. I mean, Odegaard, really? Up front, you've got Solanke, Richarlison. It's not exactly exciting, is it? Okay, on the right-hand side, we've got Kudus. But he just gets marked out of the game anyway. They suss that out double quick. As soon as they put 3 people on him, even 2 people at times, he was marked out of the game. So we need to level it more up the front. We need the people on the left to be able to do it as well. Do you know what? Another position, I'll stick with Gakpo for a minute. I do think he'd be one worth going for. I don't know what the price is and that. I haven't looked on it like that, but I think he's significantly better than what we've got. He's definitely one I wouldn't mind having at the club. Another player, he's got a bit of experience on him as well. He's played in the Premier League. No, hasn't lived up to standards at Liverpool, but Liverpool standards and our standards are slightly different. Just a little bit. But I think he's more than a good enough player to come over to Spurs and get a job done. Better than what we've got, significantly. I mean, another one we're meant to be interested in, and this one I think is a bit of a long shot, but been reading about it, and this is where Italy, again, is desperate to sell players. Juventus, Gleison Bremer, defender they got. Very good defender, in my opinion. I've seen him play plenty of times. They're meant to be willing to sell him up as well, and Spurs are meant to be looking at him. But that's another defender. That'd mean that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders that we'd have bought. 1 left back and 3 centre backs. So then we'd definitely have to be looking at getting rid of players, wouldn't we? I mean, I would not argue with Bremer at Spurs at all. But then if we're going for this amount of defenders, and rumour is also going about that Romero is staying now, that he wants to stay. Personally, the sooner we get rid of that freak, the quicker. Can't stand him as a player. Don't rate him. Very overrated. Quality on his day, but just has lack of days. Don't like his attitude either. Don't want him there. Or has he decided that he's willing to stay at Spurs because he knows nobody bloody wants him? I mean, how much could we realistically sell Romero for? I've seen some people say 80 million. I've seen some people say 20. Some people say 50. Me, go put 35 million on the table. Baked potato, mate. You can have him. I'll take him to the airport myself. That is how much I personally don't rate him. And if he was that good of a player, someone would have had him last season. He only signed a new contract with us because no one went for him. No one had him. Can anyone see anyone paying 60, 70 million for him now? I don't. He has done nothing to prove it. No consistency. Very erratic player. Does get injured. Not so bad on the injury last season as the season before, but then again, everyone was fucking injured last season. I don't see someone coming in and putting a 50, 60, 70 million pound bid for him. I really don't. I mean, if someone was to offer, I mean, like Levy Gon saying here, 50 million, take it all day long. I just don't see someone doing it. I don't see why they would want to offer 50 million for a player who's been that inconsistent over the years. Over the past 3 years, he has been solidly inconsistent. 2, 3 games, you might see a 10 and a 9 and an 8 out of him. But then for the next 7 games, you see a 2, a 4, a 2, a 7, a 2. You don't want that in your team. And then you look at other players we got, like Danzo, Van der Ven. Why are we looking at other defenders then? Does anybody even actually know what formation we're going to be using next season? Is it going to be a 4-2-3-1? I think he went straight. I think De Zerbi went straight with a 4-2-3-1, took the kids off, thank God, Archie Gray and Bergville. Put Bentancur on there with Paulinho or Gallagher, and we already looked a bit more stable in midfield as soon as we done that. And I think he just kept it safe, basically. Plain, Jane, simple and safe. Didn't want to do no piss balling about, didn't want to mess about with things. And he got the job done. Is he going to stick with a 4-2-3-1? Because if Romero don't go, Van der Ven ain't going. There's no rumour of Danzo going everywhere. And we've also gone and got Van Hickey and also Sinisi. That's going to be 5 centre-backs there. And I think we've got 1 or 2 coming off a low. We've got Vuskovic as well. So is he actually going to play with 3 at the back? Because when you've got that many defenders there, to me, that almost looks like you've got intentions of playing with a 3 at the back, basically. Or is it that Romero's going to go and Vuskovic is going to go? I don't know. We haven't seen anyone else bought in any other positions yet. And I think this is one thing that can have a serious conversation on. None of us actually know of what formation we are actually going to be playing. I think he went for the 4-2-3-1 because it was solid, it was stable, no mucking about. Everyone knew what to do, got the kids out of it, right? Done that, job done. We're in the Premier League still. Let's take it to the next season. Because when De Zerbi has been manager of other clubs, he has used other formations. He has played with 3 at the back. So if we're going to have that many centre-backs there, for me, that's saying that he ain't just going to be playing, and we're not going to be playing loads of games next season because we're only playing basically 1 game a week, depending how we go on the FA Cup and the League Cup, basically. So why would we want 6 defenders in there, centre-backs? So surely 1 or 2 of them have got to go. Or is he going to be using a formation of a 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2, 3-5-2? I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to look at. I mean, being said here, like you said, 50 million for Romero. And what you're also seeing here, Buzz, is that if Messi talks about him again, you can whack another 10 million on for him. Well, you know what? If that would do it, then so be it. And Claire, what you're saying here, no way Romero isn't worth over 45 million. He's inconsistent and his brain parts too often. 100% with you. He is not worth over 45 million. Not at all. For me, you'd be lucky. I wouldn't even pay 30 million for him. But if we get an offer of 35 million for him, get him out. I think he's also a problem at the club as well. I think he's been a terrible captain. I didn't think Son was a great captain. He's not my sort of captain material. If anything, Romero is more similar to the sort of captain material I would want, like a Gatasso, like a Patrick Vieira, like a John Terry, like a Roy Keane. But Romero hasn't got the mentality for it as such. I mean, Pete Smith, what are you saying here? You're overly harsh on Romero. If we are open to selling him, there will be clubs who want to buy him for a reasonable money of 40, 50 mil. I don't think there'll be no one interested in 50 mil, mate. You can think I'm overly harsh on him. Fair enough. Again, each their own. Whatever turns you on at the end of the day, mate. If you think he's good, fair enough. I don't. He's just too inconsistent for me. And his mentality, he almost thinks he's bigger than the club. And how many times have we also seen that out of nowhere, a little injury pops up just before an international game? Surely that isn't just something in common. Surely that isn't just, there's more to it than that, in my opinion. But I don't think we'd miss him personally at all. On his day, he's brilliant, but he just has lack of days. And you don't want a player like that. You want a player consistent. Maybe not as good, but like Danzo. For me, Danzo, you at least know what you're going to get out of him. You at least know what is going to happen with him. Okay, there's going to be the odd game he don't do great. There's going to be games he does better, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to see a 6 or a 7 out of him, I think. Whereas again, Romero, you're just going to see it all over the place. You don't know whether you're coming or going. And that is why I personally want to see the back of him. And like I said, captain-wise, he's got a lot of what I want in a captain, but a lot of what you don't want in your captain. Same as Son was a good captain off the pitch. I don't think he was a good captain on the pitch. Got a guest who wants to come and say hello. Here we go. Alex, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, Dan. It's Mr. Box Office. I need to come on the show to ruin your show because that's what I'm renowned for. Anyway, I'm joking. You know what I mean? You know,
go for gold, mate. Go for gold.
You know, it's just a little bit of a joke there because that's what I'm renowned for. I've been told. Yeah, you know what? The Romero debate. Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's funny how opinions kind of age really well. Because I was laughed at about Danzo. I said I like Danzo. The guy that's always negative, like Andrew. I'm the Andrew Tate of the fan base, Dan. I've been told as well.
What's wrong with Andrew Tate?
No, just I'm that sort of figure, like in the Tottenham fan base, because I've got polarizing views that ruin streams. But the point is though, yeah, is that I it's interesting about the Romero debate, because for me, I think the defenders we brought in are more harming effect than what we've got Romero, and.
Yeah.
Even though Danzo gets a lot of, and I'm not dismissing his misdemeanors. I'm not saying he's the best defender in the world. No, he's not. But Michael Dawson was not the best defender in the world. But you would have him 9 times out of 10 because you knew you're going to get at least a 7, 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? I think there was other defenders as well in the past. I think John Scales was one. I can't remember back in the past.
Gary Mabbutt, if you want to go back.
Gary Mabbutt,
he wasn't a good defender. He was nothing special. But
nothing special.
You was getting a solid 6 or a 7 out of him game by game with the odd game and the odd great game. You had stability with him.
Exactly, and that's why I atone it to Danzo. You get what I'm saying? Like, I forgot his name now. The second season for Pochettino. I think he was Swiss, or I can't remember his name now. That came in when Vertonghen got injured. He was actually he actually had a few good games as well for us as well, right? And I'm not atoning it to the fact that he only had a few good games, but I mean, you know, that partnership with Vertonghen and Alderweireld was a very solid partnership. But then he came in, and it wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. But this second season, I can't remember his name now. Someone can maybe say it in the chat. I can't remember. But you know, I just think these sort of defenders, yes and not. Yeah, maybe after a few seasons, you might have to let them go. But for the position that Tottenham are in at the moment, Danzo's not a bad defender to have. You know what I mean? Danzo's not I understand that we've been in relegation battle. You know, we've been in, you know, very low in the table with him. And there's an argument against him. Yes, 100%. But I'll take him over Romero all day, every single day, because an honest defender, I guess he's another brother. That's another reason as well. Maybe that's another reason as well. I'm stopping to him as well. But that's it, really. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying that, yeah, if we get rid of him, you know, in a few years, yeah, that's maybe the trajectory there we're going. And that's, if we are getting rid of him in a few years, that shows that Tottenham Hotspur have done better. And we don't need him anymore. We've got to get somebody better than Danzo. So we've done actually not that bad. You get what I'm saying? You know? But at the moment where Tottenham have been the last couple of years, 17th, I think Danzo's not a bad defender. Even a defender as a captain that was laughed at the beginning of the season. I was laughed at. Yeah? I was clipped on lots of channels about me saying that Danzo's not a bad defender, and I would have him as captain over Romero. And look who's maybe saying right now.
I think he's got the better mentality for it. Like I said, Romero has got a lot of things in him that I want in a captain, but then there's too many other sides of him. I want my captain to be aggressive. I want my captain to be like a Roy Keane, get stuck in. Okay, if he gets sent off now and again because he's got a bit of aggression, I can deal with that as well. But I don't want my captain thinking that he's bigger than the fucking club. And Romero does. And I don't think Romero also puts down... I mean, we don't know what goes on in the room behind and everything. We can only guess at it, basically. But I don't think he hypes up the players there either, sort of thing. Or talk... I don't know how to put it. Like a Roy Keane, basically. Roy Keane was like a second manager on the pitch. When he was captain at Man United, he done Fergie's job on the pitch. When the player weren't performing, he'd literally go up and tell him, get your fucking act together. Get your finger out. Romero, I never saw that. And when I see my captain halfway up the other end of the pitch, well, okay, if he's pushed it up there to go for a shot and the ball comes back over and he's just walking down there, I'm sorry, that's not captain material for me. That's not... I mean, why was he even up there half time when he done that? And too many times I've seen him do stuff like that. For me, I just think he thinks he's bigger than the club. I don't think he's a good... I just don't think he's a good captain. I don't think he's good around the other players. it's just the sooner we see the back of him, the better. I mean, someone just said in here, Tonali, captain material. Yes. Paulinho, I wouldn't mind to keep giving a 15 million bid and keeping him for a couple of years. That is a captain material as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Gallagher's better than him in terms of captain.
If Robertson's going to play regular, I'll go and stick him as the captain. If he's going to play regular.
If he plays regular, but I've got my feelings on him. But we'll get on to that another time.
We can talk about that.
No, I'll leave that. I'll leave that for people's anticipation on that one. But you know, Mark, I think
no, Alex, you can't go and say that and then not finish it off. Come on, man. Don't be like that.
Well, like I said, the analogy of Brussels sprouts.
Go and give half an opinion.
Okay, so I'll give you an analogy. Like I said before, Brussels sprouts.
Oh no,
Brussels
mate!
sprouts on the
not Brussels sprouts. They're fucking disgusting.
Oh yeah, no, but like I say, on the plate, you don't want it. You don't like those sort of Brussels sprouts, don't they? You know what I mean? But you know it's good for you. You know it's good for you. You need to make the dish feel really good. You need to have your chicken. You need to have your rice and peas. You know what I mean? Yeah, but that Brussels sprouts is just on the side of the plate, and you just don't really want to have it. You get what I'm saying? But the more you have it, the more you have it all the time, it makes you feel, after a while, it makes you feel good. You know what I mean? And actually makes you feel better and makes you, look in the mirror and think, yeah, I feel good. That's Andy Robertson, maybe at the end of the season. We'll look back at that Andy Robertson, that Brussels sprout, and say, yeah, I'm not too sure about this. It doesn't really taste my flavour right now. I'm just not really there with him. Yeah, I can see it because he's had the I see the leadership, I see everything there. He used to, he can get down the line, he's got the experience as well, he's won things. And so yeah, it's just on the side of your plate, and yeah, you have it once in a while. But then after a while you start thinking, yeah, this is good for me now. Yeah, because I see what he's doing now. I see it exactly. He's giving me the advice. He's giving the advice to young players. He's got the leadership, and he's grown into that player that's really important to Tottenham Hotspur. And then after a while, then you start saying, now he's really now he's really helping the team now. He's helping us getting better aesthetically as well. And that's what I mean by a Brussels sprout. That's what I mean. You know what I mean? Because at the moment, I'm not too excited by him. If I'm really honest with you, I understand that he's really important, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that I don't want him, because I don't see it, because we don't want just young players in our club. No, we don't. But I think later down the line of the season, when he's playing and seeing him hopefully being in more, meeting more games than the Doji, and we'll see why his influence is having his influence on the team, and then maybe in the end of the season I can say, you know what, that was actually a good season with Robertson. I actually see him actually, being good. That's what I mean by it.
And Sonny, just telling me that, mate. I just checked it and realised that somehow the mic had turned itself off and it was using the mic off the fucking monitor. So cheers telling me, mate. With that one, he's better than what we've got. Okay, he hasn't. No, so hang on a sec. Let me have a look at this quickly. Just direct a bit. Beth, fucking disgusting on that. That's my wife telling me she loves Brussels sprouts. She's tried getting me to eat them a few times. You know what I mean? No, not even the handcuffs work for that one, but that's a different story. And also saying Buzzardier, they're basically jank. Yep. And Claire as well. Yuck. They are fucking evil, them things. I mean, I don't use this word in my life as such with anything bar sprouts. I fucking hate Brussels sprouts. People don't hear me say that because no one has that power on me where they will get inside my head that much that I hate. Brussels sprouts is the one thing I will use that for. I fucking hate them. They are jank. They are proper horrid. I remember my mother forcing me to eat them as a kid. Like, you sit there and cry over it when I was about 6 years old. Fucking horrible.
It's just an analogy. It's an analogy, Dad.
I know that, but having a bit of banter with it. I mean, Beth should probably.
I'm joking.
So, Love Brussels sprouts on a plate as well. Bourbon makes me feel good, yeah. Have sprouts like once a year, maybe twice. No, not
It's got
happening.
people chatting. It's got people chatting. I can't believe it's got people chatting.
No, it does.
Bloody hell.
It's like the last I mentioned of this quickly, it's like another one that will make people chat quickly. For me, God, Allah, whoever, whatever they want to say is their fucking God, Buddha, whatever, yeah, or even if it's a fucking unicorn, I don't care what people look up to. Put pineapple on this planet for a reason, and one reason only, and that was to put it on a pizza.
Yeah.
And that is one thing. That is one thing my wife disagrees with to the extent that I disagree with Brussels sprouts, basically. But going from there, we'll leave that one out of it. And I bet you'll see a few people will come up on here now saying, yes, they love pineapple on a pizza, and others saying they despise pineapple on a pizza. But I love pineapple on a pizza. It's there. See, look, she has to make a comment, doesn't she? No pineapple on a pizza. It was made for it. Right. You see with Robertson, yeah? He's captain material, which we haven't really got there. I mean, if we would have kept Paulinia, captain material. If we get Tonali, captain material. Van der Ven, is he captain material? I don't like his attitude the second half of the season. I think he's got a bit more to do before I call him captain. But at the moment, who else is there of captain material there? You'd say Robertson is probably the most one who would be the captain material there. I think he's better than the Dogie. I mean, the Dogie, since he's came from Italy, has just been fucking terrible, really. I mean, while he was in Italy, he was good. And he looked like he was going to go places. And he just, maybe it's down to the amount of injuries, I don't know. But he's just not progressed. But then some might say he hasn't progressed because who has really progressed there? You know, everyone's pretty much gone backwards in that aspect. But I mean, are you going to keep playing Spence there? He's better than Spence. I mean, I really don't rate Spence too highly. He can defend, but like he showed for England last night, getting forward and doing something with it, no, not good. And if we're keeping him for the season, just to back up the next season so we can focus on more important spaces, for a freebie, I think he's a good buy. I think he's good to have as a squad player. And I think he personally gets in that first team over anybody we've got there. He gets in it over Spence, he gets in it over Adogi. So I think with Robertson, unless this is a bad injury he's got, which it wouldn't surprise me that he gets bad injury in the World Cup because he's got to come to Spurs. It seems like a curse that we give on people. But I do think Robertson is a good one. I think he can get it done. I mean, it's just seeing where we all know basically what we need at this place, but we're just seeing nothing moving fast. But we all know that players have got to go as well, and we have got to get rid of some of this crap, haven't we? But how are we going to do it? I mean, we've got to get rid of Richarlison or Solanke, one or the other. I don't think we'll get rid of both, but one of them's got to go. I mean, would I say no to selling Tel Odebert? No, one of them can fuck off as well. I'll tell you one position I do think we need. And to me, this is going to sound like a long shot for a few people. I think us getting a number 10 is more important than us getting a striker. Now, I know some people are going to sit here and think, what the fuck are you saying then? I'll give you my reasons for it. We haven't got a number 10. Okay, we've got Maddison. Who as a manager, on here as a manager, would want to have to rely on Maddison? I wouldn't. And if a manager is going to rely on someone like Maddison, I don't think they've got it clued up too well. Because Maddison, we all know, since he's been with us, he's only played half the games he can play. A third of those games he just wasn't there anyway. But he's had some very good games for us. But he's always injured. We know he's got Weetabix for ankles. We know he's got glass kneecaps. You know he's only going to do... You're going to be lucky if you get 12 games out of him, 13 games out of him in the season. So as a manager, do you want to rely on that? No. If you've got the option of him, great. But he's not one who I want to rely on as my first choice. Because he's just injured too easy. And then Kulu, I don't think you're ever going to see him again. Not properly, not to what he was. The way he's done both injuries and that, I think he's fucked personally. I hope I'm wrong. And then after that, I suppose you could stick Kudus as the number 10. Or the odd game or two, you can push Gallagher as a 10, or the odd game or two you can put Tonali as a 10 if we get him. The only other one we've got there is Simmons, and I don't think Simmons is quite a number 10 for the Premier League, personally. I think we'd get more out of him if we played him on the left, cutting in like Son used to. But again, definitely didn't do nothing consistent as a 10. We have no chemistry at this club. We have no creativity. So even if we go and get a quality striker out there, if there's no one creating it for them, what are they going to do? Because there's only probably two strikers out there that I know that can feed themselves, Harry Kane being one of them. Every other striker needs to be fed. Now, I'm not saying they're a bad striker for it. It's not usually the striker's job to feed himself and make up his goals and everything. That's usually the fella behind him or someone to cross it. Harry Kane is one of few and far between that can actually sort himself out. So if we've got no creativity there, but we go and get a new striker, what are we going to do? So I think we need to look at getting the number 10 before we even look at getting a striker, because we need some creativity. I mean, how do you see that? Or am I just being...
No, I think you've got a point, because there's not that many good strikers out there. Because I looked at it and I looked at Harry Kane, and you just look at it and think, Harry Kane, the way he is at the moment, he's just like a phenomenon right now, isn't he, really? You can even look at Haaland, he's like a phenomenon at the moment, the goals that he scores now. And you just look at the other strikers out there, just they're few and far between. I mean, I saw Dembele score a hat-trick. Well, I didn't see the whole hat-trick, but, you know, the way that he takes on his man and scores goals. But he's coming from the left, isn't he? Or coming from the sides, isn't he? You know? So he's more a winger stroke inside forward, isn't he? So what I'm trying to say is, at the moment, I think you are right in that sense that there's not that many strikers out there. My reply to that would be is that I think De Zerbi, and not that I would tell De Zerbi what De Zerbi wants to do as a coach, is that you decide what sort of system you want to play, and you have to find the striker that can play that system and just stick with that player. That's what I would look at. So, for example, if you want a striker that is just going to hold on to the ball and keep people into play, you look at somebody like a Harry Kane, Firmino, who's good at Liverpool.
Because Harry Kane can do both jobs. He can play as a 10 and he can play as a 9.
Yeah, so you look at somebody like a Firmino who could just, for instance, you know, hold up the ball, and then you've brought people into play. Like, I mean, if you want to go back in the past, you look at Henry Heskey, who didn't score a lot of goals, but every striker that he played with him, they loved playing with him because he was very selfless, right? So he's kind of like a creator anyway.
He was like a Robbie Keane, basically. That was when it used to be the two strikers always had the big man, small man, basically. Like when it was Robbie Keane and Defoe, where you'd have the workaholic who didn't really score many, but would hold up the ball and do all the physical stuff. And then you had the small man who'd tap it in, basically. Michael Owen and then Heskey, perfect example of that one. You know,
so you're looking like for like a Firmino who's at Liverpool at the time as well. Like, and Nunes was another one as well. Nunes for Liverpool as well. That when it was a Uruguayan, he didn't score a lot of goals, but he caused a lot of chaos. I think it was much more better chaos than what you saw with Richarlison, for instance. Because Richarlison just was, well, he's just bang average. But you know what I mean. But you know,
that's being nice.
Oh yeah. You know what I call him, the below average Emeril Heskey, for a reason. But going back onto the point, I just think he may have to decide what sort of striker it is by the system he's playing, right? So if he's going to be more focused on inside forwards, you have to use a striker just to try and play them in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like for instance, like we had with Brendan Johnson. Not that I wanted to go on about the below average Raheem Sterling. I mean, like, you know, yes, he was always at the back post scoring the goals, right? But you couldn't do that without the other winger being able to, you know, dribble, right, past players.
The only way you got Johnson in the game, where Alex, was by playing Johnson's way. That is the only way you can do it.
That's the thing.
The only way he stood out, and his way, and he was good at it, was getting in at the back post and tapping it in. The rest of the game, he was absolute dog shit.
Dog shit. But I think that's where I think we're going to have to look at what the system we're playing and then see what sort of striker would be suffice, I think. And whether you want somebody that is just going to be a guy that's just going to be in the box, like a Haaland, for instance, but obviously not as good as Haaland, right? And this the one that scores the goals, or somebody at the back post like Johnson, or you just have a striker that is going to hold up the ball and just bring other wingers into play, right? So we're going to have to make a decision on that. I think that's where we're going to be deciding. I think at the moment, if you're going to be going for Tonali, for me, you are basically saying that you're basing your whole team around him. Because at the end of the day, I'm looking at it like this: because you're going to be paying over 100 million for him, right? Because with Newcastle, I'm not going to be looking at Man City saying you're paying over 116 million for Anderson, and you're saying that he's better than bloody Tonali. No, I'm sorry. We want our market rate here. So, you know what I mean? Who's at his peak right now, right? At his peak right now. So, for me, if you're paying over the odds for this guy, Tonali, you are basing your team around Tonali, right?
I would have thought so.
And then you've got the rods of what you're going to be doing. So, what sort of player up front or wingers would be good to have around Tonali? And that's what that's where I think that's where we're at the moment, really, for me. I'd see your point about this number 10. Sorry?
No, go on, go with number 10. No, go on, go for it.
No, I see your point about number 10, because I think you're absolutely spot on about the striker, but that's why I'm rebuttaling by saying you need to have a strike. You need to decide what sort of striker it is by the system you're playing. You know what I mean?
We don't even know what position we're going to play, do we?
That's the point I'm saying at the moment.
Only because we've got 6 centre backs at the moment, and possibly Phillips coming in as well, making it 7. Is he going to play with? Because surely you're not going to keep 6 centre backs there to play 4 at the back, basically, to play 2 centre backs. So what formation is he going to go for? Now, if we've got 5, 6 defenders there and we're playing 3 at the back, now that makes sense.
Well, you could play 3 at the back, isn't it? You know what I mean? It depends. It depends on what you want to do, 4 at the back or whatever. I think that's where we don't know at the moment, Dan. This is where we don't know. This is where we're at a loss at the moment. Whether we're going to do that, and I think what he will do, he will obviously want to play his way, and I think that's why he's deciding on certain players. I mean, it's deciding on certain players, but I mean, back into what you were saying about the number 10 though, because I think that's where I think you've got a good point though. I think you've got a good point about the number 10 being a very important player, team. But I think that's where I think Tonali comes into this, because Tonali is the guy he wants to be that fulcrum. It seems like, right? That's what it seems like to me.
It'd be the more box to box. He's played different ways in Italy and that, but it'd be the more box to box progressive sort of thing, similar to like how Basuma wanted to do it as such, just 10 times better at it. Similar player to Benton-Court, just significantly better at it. The thing is with him, he does lose his passes quite a few times because he takes risks. Whereas people think his percentage on his passing is poor at times, because he doesn't pass, but no, it's because he actually takes a few risks of passing it forward. He doesn't always go for that safe pass. And I want my midfielder to do that, because we're so used to midfielders these days passing left, right, back, that it just makes no progress for you. We want someone to actually take a few risks, don't we? So you reckon we definitely need the number 10 as well. So what's more important, the number 10 or the striker?
Like I said, it goes back to
Solanke score more goals if they were getting.
No. You know my opinions on these two. I want to get rid of both. Like I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. I know it's not realistic, but I'm just giving you my reason. I'm just saying right now, right? I want to get rid of them both, because if you come back to me during the season and you say, "Oh, they're doing well this season," are you going to give them credit? I say, well, no, because I didn't want them in the first place. So as far as I'm concerned, bye bye, see you later. You know what I mean? They've got to do a lot more to get me on board. You know what I mean? So I want them gone. So that's why I'm saying right now.
You see more of a 10. I personally think Kudus would be better as a 10 than on the right. Personal opinion.
100%. And I think that's where I think this is what I'm saying about the system. The system is going to be important, Dan. This is the point. I think this is where I think, it's interesting. I think it's interesting why we're taking so long. Maybe we're taking really long with this whole thing about Tonali and Fernandes, because also it's about what we're going to do with the system. That's the thing at the moment. Or has he made the choice of what system he wants to play, and that's it, really? So
I would support the manager he wants to play. I would hope so.
I think he has, maybe, because they are going very aggressively for Fernandes and Tonali. So for me, when I look at it, and also with the Savinho sort of talk as well, and the rumours that this could go through on the 1st of July because of certain financial straits and stuff, you would think that they've got a plan already. So for me personally, I by what we're seeing at the moment in terms of who we're buying at the moment, I think the focus is more on the inside forwards right now that are looking to get into the box more and shooting and scoring rather than the dribblers. I think a lot of the time.
So you're looking at getting significantly more goals from the outside, cutting in like Son used to.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think that's what we're going to do, because I think he's going to keep Solanke, and we know Solanke isn't renowned for loads of goals, isn't he? Really, he's more that guy that really holds up the ball, isn't it? So, if for instance, if they're going to keep him, I think they're going to keep him, and he'll be the guy that's just going to be like that battering ram, just holding up the ball, and he'll be like around the box, and then it's really up to the wingers to score the goals. That's just me generally. I think that's what that's where I'm looking at the moment. I think that's where.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see where you're coming from it.
But the system's going to be important. The system's going to be important where we'll tell what he's doing. But I think we've got a bit of an idea now, because the aggressiveness of looking at getting Tonali, getting what is his name, getting Fernandes, and getting Savinho. Those three players, I think you're getting a bit of an idea what we're doing.
Mia, how you doing? I saw you on the slides.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was saying that actually he doesn't really start with a back three. It sort of like transitions into a back three. So majority of the time, all the way through his career, he has started a very few games that actually start with a back three. So I very much doubt he's going to change that now.
I've seen him do it a couple of times, but not many. Mainly with him is 4 at the back. Do you think he could be doing is basically using Porro for what he's actually fucking good at, pressing forward, to then have the other 3 cut it to a back 3 while Porro presses forward? Like Klopp used to do with Trent. Trent was a shit defender. Porro is a shit defender, but he's good at going forward. And if we've kept Porro to just be a right back, I just think that's stupid. I think it's a waste of money. But if we're actually going to use him to what he's good at, that would make sense. Do you think he might be looking at something like that?
Yeah, I think that's what he'll do, Dan, because when we transition into attack, we do go back 3, and then he goes back to back 4 when you're defending. That's how he does it. So it's like a transition during the actual game. So it's not an actual where you start with it, but he tells his players, like you say, if Porro goes forward, for them to then go into a back 3 to cover him. So a defender will go in and cover and help out defensively while he'll go forward.
It makes sense. It would make sense because for me, otherwise, for me, keeping Porro, I don't even know why we kept him, because I think he's been a waste of a player basically for what we could use him for. We have not played him for his capabilities or what he is strong at. We haven't done that. He was bought basically as a wing back because he's a bloody good wing back for Conte. And he just hasn't been used to it. The closest who actually used him to what he was good at was actually Ange, but Ange had him cutting in. And he's not usually ever done that either. He's usually been one who gets up the side and crosses it in. I think the only thing that slacks with Porro when it comes to getting forward, he's not very good at beating his man. It's just when it comes to defending, The other thing I think with keeping them two, I mean, Spence, I'm very 50-50 with. I think he's another one who's a bit so far stuck up his own arse he can smell yesterday's dinner, but he does earn a couple of $100,000 a month. So if you want to play a more defensive game with four at back, then you use Spence as your right back. If you want to play a more attacking system with four at the back, then you go and put Porro there. Because Spence, like we saw last night, when he gets forward with the ball, we don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Yeah, no, he was useless last night when he was come on. I was like, what's you doing, mate? And when they were giving the ball to him, I'm like, don't give the ball to Spence because he ain't going to do nothing with it.
So do you reckon he could be use it on the defensive game, use Spence, use it on a more attacking game, use Porro? Because I'm just trying to work out here what formation we're going to use.
I'm with you when it comes to Spence. If they said we'll get rid of Spence and get someone else in, I wouldn't be actually against that, if I'm honest. Like, I don't think he's defensively, but going forward, he's not great. And I don't rate him maybe as highly as other people do. I'm not sure about him, but the thing is, for now, I think that's creating another problem that we probably don't need to create. But I do think that he will be used, maybe like you say, in games where we may be wanting to be a little bit more defensive. If we're winning a game and we want to shore it up a little bit, have Spence come in, so we're not maybe getting forward as much. If we want to just close out a game a little bit and control the game a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Spence does play left and right, so it would be a sensible thing to keep him, basically, wouldn't it? Sort of kills two birds with one stone.
Yeah, no, 100%.
He's not a bad player. He's anything special. I mean, he had a few good games for us, and all of a sudden he was fucking quality when I thought he'd done well, but you know what we like at Spurs. And I think he would be a sensible player to keep because whether you play him in your first team or a squad player as such, he does cover the left and the right. Sort of like it does cover a problem. So what I want to go into, ask you two with this one, I mean, I was going to get to that a bit earlier, like where I was talking about the amount of bloody defenders we've got at the moment. This is where I'm questioning, is it three at the back, whatever else. There's still a lot of rumour going about with Vuskovic. And also a lot of rumours going about with Bergvall now. Now, for what I read on a lot of other pages, what I watch on other shows, have a look on Facebook now and again, have a debate with a few of them on there or just wind them up, which is easy enough to do with Spurs fans. It's easily done. Nearly as easy as Arsenal fans. But what do you reckon we should do with them two? We'll go with Vuskovic first. I mean, for me, if we get offered 50 million for him, I say take it, sell him. We're not going to miss him because he's never bloody played for us. He's never played in the Premier League anyway. Okay, there's that chance he could turn out to be a brilliant player. But do you want to be relying on an 18, 19-year-old who could become a good player or who could also have a terrible season and only be worth 9 million by the end of the season? What do we do with him, do you think? I personally think we need the players now.
Yeah, I think sell him. I don't know why people, like, I had arguments with people who saying that they actually want him to be in the team next season. I'm like, you what? All right, who's he going to play above? And why are we relying on kids again that we don't even know are going to be any good in the Premier League? Because he's had one good season done. And I keep saying this, if it was any other player that wasn't Tottenham player and we signed him after one season of being good and he was only 19 years old and we said we wanted him in the team, people would be kicking off about it. It's only because he's a Tottenham player that it seems like people reverse their like ideas of what they actually want because he's got that thing where he's attached to Tottenham by contract, but only by contract is he attached to Tottenham. So for me, if it was any other player and we brought them in at 19 years old, people would be kicking off and saying, why are we getting a 19-year-old centre back to start or to bring in to actually play games? That's what everyone would be saying. But it's only because, like I say, he's got the attachment of Tottenham through contract that people seem to be going absolutely mad about it, about selling him. It's weird.
I mean, you do find a lot of the fan base seem to be very desperate for the kids to work out, basically, for the kids to come through the ranks. And from what I see in English football anyway, it doesn't really happen very often. I mean, if you want to go to a league where that's more to happen, then you either look at Serie A or you look at La Liga. They seem to be the two leagues where the younger players seem to make it through the team. In the Premier League, that just doesn't seem to happen very often. And I don't want to be relying on a 19-year-old again. He might
The
come
thing-
out to be an excellent player, but then he might be shit. He might just not be able to handle it in the Premier League and turn out that he's worth 9 million.
Let's be honest, right? When we saw him against Harry Kane the other day, he didn't do anything much wrong, but he definitely couldn't keep up with the pace. And I think that that's going to be a problem for a De Zerbi type team.
He's very slow. He's very slow.
He's very, and he's not.
One of his points.
Joe, what he is to me as well. He's a very old school, old fashioned kind of defender. He's big built, but he's not. Yeah, and he's not agile. And I think that De Zerbi likes someone who's agile, a bit more agile, because like when you look at him, he's just not. He's a big unit, the lad. And I'm sure that he might do well in other kinds of like other teams, but I just don't think he's going to suit De Zerbi anyway. So I don't see the point of keeping him when he doesn't even want to be here either. He's the one who said he wants, like, basically, he's saying he wants to play, and that's it. So then if he don't want to be here, then sell him.
And yeah, I can perfectly understand that as well. I mean, if Spurs wanted to be the boss, basically, they could just turn around and say to him, "Shut up, you're going on loan, or you're sitting on a bench," basically, and doing fuck all. They have got that power, because I don't think Vuskovic has quite got the power yet to turn around and say, "Well, I'm not playing. I won't play for you." Like I think Harry Kane should have just said, "I am never stepping foot on your pitch again unless you do sell me to City." He would have had the power to do that. Vuskovic has had one solid season. And
Joe, Joe, I will point out about Kane is that I feel they took the piss City with the offer. The offer that they did put was taking the piss. I don't think that was nearly enough for Kane at that point. So I can actually understand it from Tottenham's point of view.
Tottenham's point of view, you wouldn't want to get rid of him full stop. I'm talking from Harry Kane's point of view. You know, I could understand a player like that being a bit saucy like that, because he's basically earned that right because he's been that good. Vuskovic has had one good season. Now, I can understand if he wants to play consistently, he doesn't want to go into a team where he's going to be on the bloody subs bench most of the time. I don't feel it does any good for the players. I think it does better for a player when you put him on loan, like Mikey Moore, and he gets consistent game time. I think that does you better than sitting there next to a bigger player as such with a bloody notepad. But again, people see it slightly differently. But for me, I'd sell him. I mean, Alex, how do you see it with Vuskovic? What do you reckon we should do with him?
Yeah, I love you down his box office, but big up to you. Listen, right? This is where I've warmed myself a little bit. No, you know it's all love. You know it's all love, Dan. You know it's all love. Yeah, this is where I've not done myself any favors whatsoever. While I see a flyer on my door. Yeah, I'd say it like this. Kingpin in Spider-Man had a son that when he got arrested when Spider-Man defeated the baddies, and he was getting arrested, and he said to his son, "Sacrifices need to be made," and it's like this with Bilbao and Vuskovic. Sacrifices need to be made, right? Sacrifices need to be made because yes, you might be good, you might have a good glass ceiling that is not too high up here, well, it's very high. For me, I can't really reach it. But from some Spurs fans, for a weird reason, they think that glass ceiling's very low and you can touch it. I don't see them touching it. I don't see them touching it at all. And we ain't got time to wait for them to touch it. You know what I mean? Yeah, because that ceiling's not going to get any lower in my book. You know what I mean? So for me, sacrifices need to be made. Sell them. Get a sell-on clause. Do what you need to do. Bye-bye, see you later, and get better players, right? Because with these players in the team, we're not learning. We're not learning. We are not learning. This is why I said you might as well just got relegated last season. You might as well got relegated last season because we're not learning. These young players, yeah, they're good, but they're doing damage to Tottenham Hotspur. And you're only proving to other fans why we are Spursy. When Aston Villa sold their youngsters, where have it got them? They got them top 4 in the Europa League, better than what Tottenham did. Right? Yeah. Newcastle sold Anderson because of FFP. They didn't want to sell him, but FFP. Look where they are now. But yeah, fair enough. you know, they've not done bad. They did badly last season, but there's other reasons for it, though.
Do you reckon it would be more of an ideal situation if we stuck them both out on loan
Get rid.
and then see what comes?
Get rid. Get rid.
The problem you've got with that, Dan, is that as much as people can say stick them out on loan, they can refuse to go on loan. They can also say, well, I don't want to go on loan. I want to put my transfer request in. So you've got to understand, like, I don't want players who don't want to be here. If they don't even want to go on loan for us, then I don't see the point. Like, honestly, any player don't want to be here, bye-bye. I'm quite like harsh like that. Like, to me, that's, do you know what I mean? If you don't want to be here, if you don't even want to go on loan for us, then bye-bye, laters.
It's not even about them. It's not even what they want to do. It's not even about if they want to stay here. It's not even about that now. It's about where Tottenham Hotspur are right now. And that right now, all right, Andy Robertson that we just debated on right now is where we're at the moment. That's where we're at the moment. They've had 2 years at this club right now. That's enough time. That's enough time. Because the same conversation I was having when I was emotional about Holtby going. Where's Holtby now? Where's Holtby now? Back in the day when Pochettino started. I said, keep got Holtby because I like Holtby. He's got a little bit of passion. He's got a little bit of nous about him. Where is he now?
And we go and sell them two. That's more money on your hands for players that can get into that first thing. And that's what we need, isn't it?
Yeah, to me, Joe, when you bring Joe, what you do with youngsters, when you're a more settled, stable team, you can then start bleeding like youngsters in because they've got experience in front of them that they can learn from. At the minute, we haven't got that luxury because of the position we're currently in. So,
like Arsenal are doing.
Yeah, that's right. You have to be in a good position to be able to bleed those in properly and to see who will make it and who won't. But at the moment, we ain't got that luxury. We need to be here and now and think for the here and now until we get into that position. So let them go, as Frozen once said.
And Zerbi ain't staying here for a teacup and a cup of tea. He ain't staying here for a teacup and a cup of tea, right? Okay, you know what I'm going to say. Exactly. You know what I mean? He ain't here. Right, so as far as I'm concerned, if you love him that much, the Mona Lisa, De Zerbi, because the way that we talk about him, he might as well be in the Mona Lisa, right?
Well, you got stop us going down.
Well, yeah, I know, but you get what I'm trying to say because like I've been on shows and it's even rivals. It's weird. It's like, oh, you've got a great coach. Bloody hell! Just do a Mona Lisa for him, statue for him, or picture for him. Bloody hell!
I think Mr. Box Office, you're allowed to say that the coach is a decent coach. Like, I think that there's nothing actually wrong with saying we think we've got a decent coach. We have to wait and see what he can do. Like,
yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying though. It's not just about the coach, though, isn't it? You get what I'm saying because we've had better coaches before. But we'll get into another because I don't want to change the subject. I don't want to look like I'm changing the topic here. But my point is though, yeah, on the two boys, on the two youngsters that we want to keep, well, some I want to sell, right? Is that where we're at the moment is Andy Robertson. That's where we're at the moment. Where we're at the moment is Cody Gakpo. Yeah, where we are at the moment is Savinho. That's where we're at the moment. We're looking at people that have dropped off and looking to buy them right now, right? Like your, for instance, Martin O'Neill, Sam Allardyce, Harry Redknapp back in the day used to go and get players back in the day who fell off at their top clubs and got them in and made them feel a little bit better, put an arm around them, right? And then let them go again. You get what I'm saying? That's where we're at the moment as a football club right now, right? So for me, like youngsters, go and sort out your career. Go and show us what you're made of right now. Yeah, like your Archie Gray, right? Who is a bang average player as far as I'm concerned, because we didn't say that. We said Dyer was a bang average player, right? Who's a utility player. Look what's happened to him. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I'll sell him as well, right? So, like, I'll get rid of them and, yeah, I think Andy Robertson's a bang average signing, but I'll take him all day long. Then bloody Bergvall, watching him run around like a headless chicken, and Vucevic, who's just looking like the god of centre backs when he's not nowhere near. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, that's my opinion.
No, I agree with that. I mean, out of the ones we've mentioned there, I mean, again, at the start, you saw a few things with Bergvall where, yeah, do you know what? There's something there as such. A lot more than I saw with Gray. But then as time went on, that's all you ever saw with Bergvall is that he literally runs forward with a fucking ball. And that's all he does. And he loses the ball most of the time. He hardly ever shoots. He don't cross. He don't really do nothing except run forward with the ball. And then when I go to showing this quickly, there you go. That is what he does. That is all Bergvall does. And then when you go and put someone like Tonali on there, that looks a lot more capable, doesn't it? And if we have a look at Gray, it's there basically. You can see the massive difference in everything, can't you? I mean, look at them. It says it all. So in an ideal team, in an ideal big club, I would send them on loan for a season, but I don't think we're in the position to do that, basically. And if they're both saying they don't particularly want to be here, then if we're getting offered 40, 50 million for Vucevic, go and take it. We're not going to miss him because he hasn't fucking played for us anyway. And that can go towards getting a quality player in for that first team. And if we go and sell Bergvall, how much would either of you two accept for Bergvall? What do you think he's worth? I mean, for me, it would be another player that someone's buying on purely potential, not what he's done. Same as Vucevic, basically. You're buying them on potential because they are that young. Simmons, he was bought more on potential than quality because he was a younger player, had 2 solid seasons. I mean, Bergvall, what? Give me 30 million for him, give me 40 million for Vucevic. I'd let them both go, personally. And then I've got 70 million to spend towards another midfielder, striker, winger. I mean, how much would you use
50 million. 50 million down. 50 million down. Because if we are selling Fernandez, right, for 85 million, who's got relegated twice, right, at 2 clubs, right, I think you should get half of that with Bergvall, who's won the Europa League, by the way. So I'll give him that credit.
No.
Don't get used to it. Don't get used to it. I'm giving credit to a youngster. Don't get used to it.
That's a fair point you're making there. I mean, I see more chance of them two going than Gray. Gray, I would have thought would stay because is he actually under homegrown yet, or is he going to be homegrown? I know Bergvall.
I think it's after this year. I think it's after this year. I think he'll be homegrown. Probably. Yeah. I think Bergvall's the one. I think it's after a year. I think after a year he'll be known as homegrown. I think that's it.
Yeah.
So I think with Gray, yeah, because I think with Gray you can name under a certain age, can't you? They don't have to be named like in the actual squad, isn't it? You can name you can keep them. So
yeah. So Europe, under 20.
Yeah. But yeah, listen, I think there's no problem with them going, man. I don't know. Like, to me, get 40 million for Bergvall, and I think 40 for Vucevic, and have clauses. Well, any value that they make on it, we get a percentage of it.
You get 20% off of your profit that you make, basically, innit?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
The other club wouldn't accept 20 million for what we sell him for. They'd accept 20 million, 20%. They'd accept 20% on the profit we make as such. So say they went and sold him for 60 million, bought him for, we'd get 20% out of the 20 million extra they made on him. And again, to me, that makes sense. We need players now, not players that we've got a hope on for the next couple of years or whatever. We need players now and in there to do the job now. I mean, Mia, I want to go back to saying, because you didn't get to ask you this one, yeah? I was saying to Alex that I think that at the moment, us getting a number 10, a proper playmaker there, is more important than actually getting a striker. Because Maddison's not going to hold it for the season. He never bloody does. He's broken. Simmons is out as such for a significant amount of time. And the only ones you've got there who can really cover it at the minute is Kudus or Gallagher, and they're not exactly number 10s either. What do you think is actually more important for us, a striker or a number 10 to actually give us some chemistry? Because even if you've got a quality striker there, if no one's feeding them basically because you've got no chemistry, no creativity, how are they going to produce?
Yeah, no, I do agree. I do think you're right. I did say that if it was down to me, I would sell Madders because I think he's got too many injuries. He's not available enough. And as much as I like him, and I think he's he's good around the dressing room, according to people, like he's a good person to have. I still think that he's too injury prone, and I think we can't rely on him. And I think if you can't rely on a player, then what's the point? Like, I'm a bit savage. Like, I'll be like, no, I'll get rid of him. As much as I like Madders, think that, you know, he's got to go and get someone else in that can be more relied upon. Because I think that we've got to have that in the team. We've got to have that creativity. And I think that we do lack that. And I still actually think that if people are saying that they would rather get like a Paulina back, me, I'd rather get a right winger to cover Kudus as well. Someone a bit different to maybe Kudus to go behind him, because I feel like that we haven't covered that either.
No, or the left. I mean, we've still got Odegaard and Tell sitting there. Do you want to rely on that? We have got so many things that we need to do in this window, technically. But we've also got to get rid of the players as well. And this is where I said at the start of the show, and I've mentioned it on Mark's show as well. I think we're just going to have to cut our losses big time on a few players just to get them out. Like with Richarlison, if someone offers 8 for him, accept it, basically. I know some people might say you'd get 20 for him, whatever else. People know we're desperate to get rid of the players. We're not desperate for money, but desperate to get rid of the players and that. And we've got to get them out. So I think we're going to have to we're just going to have to cut our losses on some of the players.
Yeah, no, definitely on some of them, 100%. But like I said, some of those, I feel like with like a Bergvall and a Vuskovic, we can get decent money for them. So I feel like that's someone we're not going to really, like, they're bonds that we don't really want to cut our losses on. And see, like a Sarr, that's someone you can cut your losses and say, yep, cool, out you go, because we were trying to get better for that midfield.
He's I think we could go and get 30 million for him, sell him. Someone offers 30 million for Sarr, let him go.
Yeah, no, 100%.
30 million should be standard anyway, but like for me, I'll get rid of Richarlison tomorrow. I'll get rid of him for 10 million or 10 million, and yeah, that's it really. I'll just get rid of him. So I don't see the point. We've had how many years with him? How many years?
Yeah, he hasn't progressed about 4 in it, something like that.
So he's not getting any better. Get rid. Bye-bye, see you later.
I mean, with what Bobby's saying there, don't sell cheap. I get what you're saying there, mate, but I don't think we're in a position where we can boss the other team on how much money they're going to have to pay for a player, because none of these players are fucking good enough to do that with. And everybody knows that we are going to be desperate to get rid of certain players, like, say, Richarlison, like, say, Odegaard, like, so Tell, Sarr, and Bergvall, Vuskovic now, who you will still get money for, maybe even Gray, and people know that we want to get rid of them. So we can't, you're not going to be able to bully the other team into having to cough up extra money because they desperately need or want that player, basically. So sometimes you do have to cut your losses and sell cheap, basically, if you want to see the back of them and get better players in there, because otherwise they're just going to be taking up the spaces. Yeah, it's going to be annoying if certain players go for cheap, but otherwise they're just going to sit there, and then we'll have too much spaces blocked up, and we won't have anything to replace them because they'll still be there. So I think we're going to have to sell a couple of them on the cheap. I mean, and what ones aren't really cheap anyway? I mean, Vuskovic is about the only one that you might get any money for, and that's purely on potential, and maybe Bergvall. Apart from that, you're not going to get much money on Sarr. You ain't going to get jack shit on Till. You ain't going to get nothing on Odegaard. I mean, who others can we go through in that? There's plenty others in there that you can look at that we ain't going to see nothing for.
Joe, what else that we could probably sell? there's players like Scarlett and that they can be sold on instead of keep loaning them out, clear the decks a little bit, and then get some of our good youngsters, get them out on loan and get them ready for them coming back into the team when we are a better team. That's what we need to do. That's preparing for the future properly. Having some of our better youngsters go out on loan, let them develop a little bit, and then when they're ready, they can come back and be the youngsters that are threaded through. Instead of worrying about this player and that player, we need to just clear the decks and stop getting rid of players and like loaning players, that we should be getting rid of. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I agree. And Adam, yeah, thanks a lot. Member for 6 months. He says there 100% need to cut our losses. Sometimes you just need to accept your losses and walk away. And as well, yeah, Dragusin, I reckon you get 20 mil, 15, 20 mil for him. Because since he's been at Spurs, he hasn't performed. When I watched him play in Italy, he was good. I just don't think we played to his strengths. Our style of football over here just didn't suit him. And he's another one, you get 15, 20 mil. If you add it all up and cut your losses on a few of them, like I say, Richarlison, I'd accept 10 mil for him. I'd accept 8 mil for him. Romero, I'd take 30 mil for him all day long. Dragusin, 15 mil. Bergvall, 20, 30 mil. And you go like that. Sarr, 20 mil. You're already racked up to about 100 mil, if not a bit more, when you get rid of a couple of others, and that's selling them cheap. And that can go straight into basically buying players like Tonali. Because we ain't going to need the same squad size next season either, unless we have major injuries again. Because we're only in one game a bloody week, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's it. I can understand what people are saying, like in the chat, and saying that obviously selling all our good youngsters, but it's about the here and now. Those youngsters want to be playing now, and we can't do that. We haven't got the capacity to do that. So what we need to think about is the future, and we have got some good ones coming in. Lucas Barnett Williams, is it? He's a good one. We've got Mikey Moore. We've got a few good youngsters that can come through, but we just have to be able to position ourselves correctly to do it, and then get them out on loan, get them experience to bring them back if they're good enough. A very small percentage make it, like you said. The percentage that make it through the Premier League's academy system,
9% or something, isn't it? It's not even 1%.
It's really, it's crazy, because we say, oh, but this player, this team, but when you look at the whole overall percentages, it ain't a lot, even though people can name, oh, this player did it on this team.
No, it's not. And I get how everyone's going to see it different. They're going to judge different players differently. People prefer other players to other players, and that. Some think Gray's quality, some think he isn't. Some people think Bergvall's quality, some people think he ain't. Some people think Richarlison's good, which I find quite strange. But again, whatever turns you on at the end of the day. And Bobby, what you're saying here, you're entitled to your opinion, mate, on how you see it. But we are 100% in the position, the same as West Ham are standing firm on Fernandes. Well, the difference is Fernandes is a wanted player. Now, I don't think he's worth 75 mil, like I said earlier. But he's significantly wanted more than any of the crap we've got. The only one we've got who's probably wanted to the same extent is probably Vuskovic, and that's purely on potential. Bergvall has done nothing to stand up or show internationally or in the Premier League that he's capable of anything. I showed you the stats earlier.
But like I said to you, Dan, it's about what other teams see in him. So a Forest have just got all that money. If they want to be paying a silly amount for Bergvall because they want him that much and they see him as potential, why shouldn't we try and get as much as possible from them? Because we think to ourselves,
I agree on you try and get as much as possible, but on a lot of it, I think we're just going to have to cut our losses on it because we ain't going to get what we want for it. Obviously, you push it as far as you can. I'm not saying that. But a lot of the offers we are going to get for these players, if we even get fucking offers for them, are going to be pretty poor because none of them has lived up to any sort of standard to justify. I mean, what has Bergvall actually done to justify to be pay over 40 million for him? What has he done?
The fact is, it doesn't matter what we think he's done, Dan. It's about what they potentially see in him. So what we can say, because a lot of people are saying that we're crazy to get rid of him. A lot of fans of other clubs are saying they think he's really good. So my point being is that obviously we see him like that, but other teams might not. So it's not really about what we believe about him. It's about what other people believe about him. So it don't matter what we think.
Well, no, the thing I was asking you from just a straightforward view, no supporter of Spurs, no supporter of what other club, just from a football point of view, what has Bergville done to justify 40 million? Now, if another team comes in for that, I'm not saying don't take it. I'm saying, no, give us 50, but if they're only going to offer 40, then we take it. We're going to have to cut losses. What has Bergville actually done to justify more than 40 million? Now, if we can get more, of course we do it. But what do you think he's done? I'm asking you, what do you think? Now, if Morris he's worth 60, 70, then fucking pay it. But what do you think he's done to justify a 40, 50, 60 million move? That another team would want that.
I think that when you look at him comparatively to someone like a Fernandes, he is a European winner, a European trophy winner. He has played international games, like he's played games like again, not international. He's played like internationally for his club when he goes out to like the World Cup. He has played teams like played in big matches for us as well. He might not have done what people might think as brilliant, but at the time when we've had a manager like Frank, you could say potentially that Frank wasn't the right manager to try and actually bring on Bergvall to his best potential. So, yeah, I could see why people would say, like, let's not be daft here and mug ourselves off when there's players going out there that are probably better really, that are going for a heck of a lot of money.
Oh, I can see where you're coming from with it. And Ghost, I also get your point here. You're saying, so we sell all the good youngsters and keep all the shit ones. It don't make sense, just delete our academy. I get where you're coming from there, but they ain't good youngsters. Gray has done nothing to prove he is good. Bergville has done nothing to prove he is good. I get that you want to keep the youngsters for the future and that, but I'm more bothered about right now, if I'm going to be honest. Again, we'll all see it different. I really don't care about the players of what they're going to do in 5 years' time. I'm more bothered about what they're going to do next season here and now. Now, I know it goes on further and you've got to look ahead in that, but I don't think we're quite in a position to look too far ahead at the moment because we're in a position where we've just nearly got bloody relegated. And next season, we need the players now, not players for 5 years' time. We need the way I would do it personally is I would get rid of half of that lot because, well, the so-called established players, the older ones, I'd get rid of plenty of them as well. But the younger ones have done nothing to prove anything of any good for me either. Nothing. I even showed the stats on here. Bergville, he does nothing but run forward. That is all he does. So I quite happily see the back of him as well. And then over the next 2 years, I would build my first 11 and start building on the squad and then start bringing some youngsters into it, some younger players. Not try and do what Spurs have done and start with young players and try and bring in some older players around it. That nearly just got us relegated.
I'll do it like this. I'll do it like this, Dan. I'll do it like this. Right, if Nottingham Forest wants to take our player. But I kind of agree what Mia's saying here, right?
That's not a good point.
Because that's kind of my point as well. Like, I think we need to get rid of the players, 100%. But if Nottingham Forest have got the cheek to say that they're going to get rid of Anderson, who's only had 2 seasons, right, at Nottingham Forest. Yes, he's done well, but let's be honest here. We're going on the hype of what Anderson is because the trajectory is very high at the moment, yeah? We could look at Bergvall and say, well, if you want Bergvall, well, you sold your boy, Anderson, for 116 million, right? We want at least a little bit of half of that with Bergvall, right? Because we can look at it and say, if you could do that with Anderson, his trajectory, probably with your team, because you want him so badly, could be the same, similar to Anderson, but maybe even much better with the hype around him, because he's come from Barcelona as well, academy as well, right? Okay, then, if you want him that badly, either you give us his white and half the money, or you pay up at least 52 million, 62 million, at best 60. Because
if we go and sell Vuskovic Bergville, we make most of our money back on them. And again, they might be good for the future, but I don't give a fuck about 5 years' time right now. I'm more bothered about next season and the season after because we nearly just got relegated. So I would rather get rid of 2 youth players who have really done fuck all to prove anything as yet to bring in an established quality player for that first 11. But that's just the way I see it. I mean, all right, the way money is now and everything and that, if Bergvall goes, it will be 40 odd million, something like that. But I'm just saying, I would rather go and sell them players to get players what we need for now. We don't need players for 5 years' time. We desperately need players now. And the other point just to get to is that I would accept 30 million. I can't see where he put it on it, but I would accept 30 million for Romero. Yeah, I would. I personally would. And if
I understand the whole thing about Romero.
Hang on. Romero is that good. Why did no one buy him last season for 50 million? If Romero is that good, why one putting him? I'm just answering a question on chat. Why has no one bid for him? Because he is a very inconsistent player who does not fucking deliver, bar the odd game here or there. International wise, he does.
Joe, I would say, Dan, is this whole putting a bid in for him. If someone called him up and then his agents turned around and said actually he's not for sale, then that could be. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't know who rung up and inquired about Romero last season, and then he did sign another contract. So he was obviously promised stuff, and he said, "I'm going to stay." So if anyone rung up, they'd say they would say no, he's not for sale. So that is difficult because we don't know the ins and outs of every kind of person, like every kind of thing that goes on behind the scenes. We can only make assumptions, but I get what you're saying. He is inconsistent. I wouldn't sell him for 30. I think that's probably no, considering that what he does internationally. And also, just to clear up some facts about Mr. Romero, and I'm not just sticking up for him because I think he's a hottie, but I actually genuinely do think that people go over the top. The fact is, he actually doesn't get injured to play for Argentina. That's actually only happened twice in the whole time he's been with Tottenham, where he's been injured near to being Argentina. So what I'm trying to say is that people make things up about Romero and really overstate the things because there's plenty of times when we see tackles, we said that was Romero, he would have got a red for that. So it just shows that his reputation obviously does affect how he's looked at. And at the end of the day, but it shouldn't be like that, Dan. It should be about the rules. The rules are the rules, man.
Oh, yeah, but life's life, and it is what it is, yeah? It's like, well, put it this way, the way I describe it to me, it's like when I used to get a lot younger and that, me and a couple of mates, we'd walk past a couple of gathers, straight away they'd pull us over and search us. Why? We hadn't done nothing wrong. It's because you had a bit of mud on your back and a bit of bad history. Why? That was our own bloody fault. Why does Romero get grilled for that and get stuck on it? Because he stuck that mud on his back. Nobody else. He did that.
I get that.
I understand. But I should be able to leave my fucking car door open without some little prick nicking it. But it just don't work like that, Mia.
Oh, it does around here. I actually left my front door open all night one night and I didn't realise, and nobody come in my house and robbed me. But that's because I don't live in London anymore.
Yeah, I live in London.
Don't live in London no more. So it's all right.
I love Dan's analogy. Hold on.
Don't get twisted though. If he wants to go, and I think he should go now because I think that he's done his time at Tottenham. He should be sold. I'm not saying that we shouldn't sell him, but I don't think 30 million. I think that's just a bit ridiculous. Like, that's a really low price for someone like a Romero.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm just saying what I would accept because I don't see no one paying more than 50 million for him because he hasn't produced. By the odd game here or there, with his lack of consistency, his attitude, and everything else, there's a lot of people. I don't see, if he's such a great player, why have no big clubs bid for him? They haven't. Someone might have asked a question and we said 55 million. They've said no, thank you. If he was that good, someone would have had him by now. Someone would be putting in bids for him. Who knows? In a couple of weeks, someone might come in and put bids for him. But the reason I don't think, this is where I think a lot of people don't get when a lot of people do grill Romero. It's not that he hasn't got it. It's not that he isn't a gifted player. He's good. On his day, I think he's as good as 9 out of 10 defenders in the Premier League. But what days does he have? He's too inconsistent. And that is why a big team, a proper big team, would they really want an inconsistent player like that in their team?
Yeah, no, I understand that. And actually, if Jimmy, just so you know, in my video that I did about him, I actually did put all the cards that he had, and I did actually point out all the stuff that's bad about him. I am very fair when I actually do my analysis of him. It ain't just me being a bit biased about him. Trust me, like I just said, if he wants to go and he needs to, and I think he has done his time at Tottenham, he should be sold. I can still follow him on Instagram to see his beautiful face, so don't worry, I'm already covered on that basis.
I think the example that you said, Dan, I would try to not steer away from that because I know people say, oh, well, you would say that, wouldn't you? The whole thing about getting stopped and searched, yeah. When you, unfortunately, yeah, it's kind of like that. You get what I'm saying with the whole thing.
Once you got the mud on your back, you got the mud on your back, and they will.
Yeah.
But what Alex is trying to say is that. But sometimes it is because at the end of the day, there's certain people who get pulled over more because, like, I know that for as well. I know exactly what Alex is saying. And the fact is that isn't actually anything to do with mud on their back. It's just certain people are just more biased, and referees are definitely biased sometimes.
So you don't think that it's because he's got mud on his back for the way he acts and for the some of the dirty stuff
I think that the fact
he's got this stereotypical name for no reason. You don't get stereotypical names for no reason.
No, that's not true though, because I know exactly where Alex is coming from when you look at it from a different perspective. Because at the end of the day, some people are just biased in that way. I don't want to say the actual word. I know exactly what Alex is saying, but some referees. When I spoke to the referee, Dan, the referee, the guy that comes on to Savers, he turned around and said that they do their research before a game on a player. So that means they've already got a bias in their head. So that means that they're already looking at a player being with a certain type of bias, maybe. You don't know that because we don't know what goes. But if they research players, then that's already creating a bias, is it not?
Is it? Well, that's just researching players. That's half doing the job sort of thing. But I get where you're coming from then. But you don't get a stereotypical name for no reason. You earn that stereotypical name. Yeah, it doesn't just happen. Why does Spurs get called Spursy? We earned that name. Spurs earned that stereotypical name of Spursy. It didn't just pop out of nowhere. It happened because of how shit we were at times and how we always fuck it up and everything else when it comes to the crunch. We earned that stereotypical name. Romero has earned his stereotypical name. And it's only down to him to blame it. If it's right or fair, whatever. But it is what it is. It's just the way people work. It's the way the world works in that aspect. I just think he's a player that would be better off to see the back of him. And I would accept 30 million for him because I just want him seeing gone. Because I don't see no one putting in 60, 70 mid for him. If they do, fucking excellent. But I don't see it happening because I would have thought if he was that good, why didn't someone have him last season? If he was just that good.
Like I say, he might have turned around and said he's signing for Tottenham, so he's not interested. We don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know the ins and outs of that one. This season, we'll see, innit? We'll see if anyone makes any offers for him. That would be the interesting one because we now know that he's potentially, we think that he wants to go. It feels like he wants to go. He said
he wants to stay.
That's only one. But I read another report, Dan, saying that offers have been made that he is looking to leave. So it's really mixed. You can't trust what you read.
Just news. No, of course you can't.
That's it. Why
we can only talk about what we read. And Adam, cheers, mate. Much appreciated. What you're saying there. I'll be saying this for ages. Romero will go on loan. That one would actually surprise me. Or would it be an on loan for the season with a buy at the end of the season?
Maybe an option to buy.
No, I don't think we'd let him go with an option to buy. I reckon we'd let him on go that they have to buy him at the end of the season, but I don't think we'd let him go with
maybe what will happen is that we'll say that you have to buy him if the team hasn't got the money now. If their PSR is better next season, maybe they're going to think ahead and think, well, we can manage it next season, the payment, maybe.
Yeah, but I think there's a problem there because the thing is, though, he's captain. So what are you going to do about the captaincy then? You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't keep a player that you're just taking the captaincy off, right? And now you put it on somebody else. For me, I think that's going to be very hard to negotiate as far as I'm concerned. That's why I just think at the moment, cut your losses and get rid at the moment. You know what I mean? I think it's there's too much water under the bridge, I think. You know what I mean? If you want to start afresh, right? Okay, and say, let's just cut our losses right now because, it's not working out. There's really bad press around him, right? We need to just get rid because you've already got the defenders in anyway. You know what I mean? You've already got defenders in already. You've even got, I don't even know what I'm saying. It's Ben Davis, but you bought Ben Davis as well, which again confuses me. So you've got too many players in there already anyway. So for me, and you've got Danzo there as well. So and so I just think for me, there's no need to keep him. I think you either do a loan for the whole season and then put an option to buy, or a deal to put, say a loan for the season and then make sure that you can buy him for a certain amount of games or something like that.
Yeah.
And then buy him for this certain amount of money. I mean, I don't see the point. There's no point keeping him because he's captain. So if you're keeping him, he's got to stay as captain. I just don't see that working.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't got to stay as captain if you're keeping him, not at all.
Well, the problem is that it's gonna be sour. He's not gonna just let go of that captaincy easily. And if he's still at the club and he's not captain, if he's not captain, right, he's just had the captain stripped of him. It will cause problems if he's still at the club. So for me, it's a quite easy equation for me. You've got to cut your losses. You've got to cut your losses because we've got to consider that.
The contract he signed last season, it was blatantly obvious why he'd done it. Again, we don't know for a fact, but for me, it was blatantly obvious why he signed a new contract. Why? Because he weren't fucking going nowhere, and Spurs offered him a new contract and offered him more money. He'd be an idiot not to accept it, and he can still fuck off basically next season. I mean, who wouldn't accept that? But again, the thing I say with Romero, if he's that fucking good, why has nobody come in for him? Why does no one want to know? Again, it's not his capability, it's the inconsistency of him, and it's also down to the fact of his attitude as well. I just don't think it does him no favours. I'm just saying I would accept 30 million for him personally because I do not rate him in any means or manner. I would accept it. Would Spurs accept it? How much would he go for? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see if a big club would come for him. Would a big enough club come for him that he wants to go to? I think his ideal club sort of thing would be something like Atletico Madrid, who were meant to be interested in him. But again, no one has come in and put in the bids in for him. No one's done anything. So in that aspect, maybe 30 million's going a bit cheap. You know what? Maybe you got a point there. Maybe 30 million, I'm looking at it a bit cheap. But I'm just saying I would sell him for that because I'd be desperate to get him out of there and desperate to put that money onto someone else. But that's just me talking how I feel. Would he go? You need to get rid of him. No.
You need to have a plan to get rid of him, and this is the point. And the fact that we haven't got a plan to get rid of him or whatever we're going to do with him says a lot to me. You know what I mean? This is why I don't see a lot of change in that sense because of the people that are in charge at the moment. You know what I mean? Yeah, we can buy players, and you're saying this guy Mawson guy. This Raphael Mawson guy is doing the deals and stuff, but it's yet to be proven that anything's changed selling wise. You know what I mean? So because you got to be good at selling as well. And for the right price and stuff. And this is where you can say, oh, the manager's the most important thing, the Mona Lisa, De Zerbi. But he ain't. It's not just down to him. It's about the Raphael Mawson's people, Johan Lang, Vinay. What have they got in the arsenal to try and have that plan of what
When it comes to selling the players, again, when it comes to buying the players, we're going to get charged that bit extra because people know we got the money and people know we are desperate. And when it comes to getting rid of players, people know we're desperate to get rid of players. So why are they going to offer they know they can offer less money and probably get away with it because we're desperate to get rid of them.
Well, this is why he's not been clever. That's why they've not been clever. They put it all out there because someone's putting it out there. Someone's speaking to the press. Someone's from the club speaking to the press and putting it out there. We've got 200 million to spend.
Yeah, but how many times have we heard that, mate? Like we had 150 million to spend in January and we bought fucking Gallagher.
No, but my point is though, Dan, is that's not very clever, right? When you're putting yourself in the negotiation.
I don't believe they did that. I don't believe they did that. Basically, yeah. I don't believe they did that. It's just
someone's saying it. Someone's saying it. It's like
I can turn around and say it.
I know, but someone's saying it though, Dan. Because the thing is though, it's like for instance, I watch wrestling, right? There's always rumors about who's coming in with WWE. There's always rumors from the dirt sheets, yeah. And I was thinking, and whenever something really major comes up, there's always one person that says, "No, that's not true. Why are you listening to that person? Why is it that someone's, it's like Tottenham. Why are they coming out with this? You know what I mean? Is there a reason why this is all coming out?
No, I don't necessarily think they said we've got 200 million to spend and put it on the table. That would be a bit stupid to do on a business side. But on the other side of it, Alex, everybody knows we've got money. We're just tight with it, or we just spend it very poorly. Everybody knows that. We're one of the only clubs on the planet that can actually fucking support itself without having to sell players, without having to be in the Champions League, without having to win things. We're one of few clubs that can actually do that. A majority of other clubs need to be consistently in the Champions League or sell players or whatever else. We just spend our money very fucking crap. People know we've got money. But the situation we are in now, people know we are desperate. Again,
this is why
I totally agree with this. Let's just pray that Romero and Berg will actually turn up in the World Cup, because then we get more money for them. I totally agree with that. Let's hope they do. But
I don't think they really have turned up, to be honest with you. So it's not really doing us that much favour anyway. You know what I mean? But
if they turn up in the World Cup and do that, it'll put price on them as such. Whereas if Vuskovic has a shit World Cup, which he definitely did not look good against England, that might knock a couple of quid off of him. We don't know.
I think for me, I think you're making some good points.
Why would anyone, Alex, offer, say, 50 million for a player that's worth 50 million, but you know the club is desperate to get rid of him? You ain't going to offer 50 million. You'll offer them 30, 35, because they're not in a position really to say no. And it's not that we ain't got the money not to say no. It's just that we need them gone.
I think for this season, I think you got that point anyway. I think you got a good point there. But I mean, I think this is where my doubts is at the moment. Will they make that decision? I know they've said it in their statement and stuff, but I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't know at the moment, Dan. I've got to be honest. I think this is where I think the doubts are at the moment, because you have to be good at buying and selling, right? And I know someone's going to come back to me and say it's too early in the window. The window's just opened, and we only got 2/3 through the window. I know exactly what you're going to say. But like I said, when you're bitten twice, big up Mia. When you're bitten twice, you don't want to be bitten again, don't you, Dan? You know what I mean? It's like when you've been, let down on shows, Dan. I'm not naming any names, but when you've been let down on a few shows, and then people say, "Oh, you just got to take it on the chin." But sometimes you don't. When you've been bitten once, you're a bit silly, but bitten twice, you're a bit stupid, aren't you? You know what I mean? You're an idiot. You're a doormat. You get what I'm saying?
As the great George Michael said, "Once bitten, twice shy."
That's the point. I love it. I love it when someone gets my point, gets my drift. Mia, thank you for that. You know what I mean? But that's the point. You know what I mean? It's like this is why and this is what I get really confused about Spurs fans. I know we've had about 3 or 4 signings in, and we're acting a little bit different. Okay, I'll give it a little bit different, right?
We're doing what we did last summer, basically, and going for these so-called bigger players for a bit of money. But last summer we didn't get what we wanted. We're basically doing the same thing, or is it all just fucking talk? To put on the plan, to put on the fans, because we are a very accepting fan base, a very sentimental lot in a lot of ways. Like, well, they did try to go for it.
I think when you're giving crumbs, Dan, when you're giving crumbs, we're full of analogies in this show today, aren't we? When you're giving crumbs and you're starving, you'll take anything, and that's Spurs fans. You know what I mean? And I think, unfortunately, we just been given the crumbs and that half of an apple pie. No, a quarter of an apple pie. but I'm not a quarter or 3/4 of an apple pie. I'm just not that guy, right? I need the full course. You know what I mean? I need the full course, right? And that takes a little bit of time for me to get that full course, that full course meal, that full course dinner. You know what I mean?
Well, it's got to start somewhere, mate. And this is
I know, but this is what I'm trying to explain. This is what I'm trying to explain. This is what I'm trying to explain. But what I'm saying at the moment is that a lot of Spurs fans, after a few months, after being absolutely embarrassed the last how many seasons, right? Taking a few crumbs and a quarter of an apple pie is enough, right? A quarter of an apple pie, right? When you're a season ticket holder and you're paying the maximum of £2,600 for a season ticket.
Yeah.
So this is the point I'm making. I can't do that, especially that. Pardon?
You can't do that. Fine, but that's another problem that the fans have here. Basically, is even if we got relegated and put the prices up, they'd still fill that fucking stadium up.
But this is the point I'm making.
Like that, because that's what our fans are like. You offer them crap and they accept it and defend it.
This is the point I'm making. Go on, Tommy.
The thing is, though, what I would say is that with the season ticket, you don't pay for the way you go and support your club. Yeah, that's what you pay for. You don't pay for guaranteed outcomes of something when you go and buy a ticket, when you buy tickets for Tottenham. But I understand why it's frustrating for fans that obviously do pay their money. They want to go and watch good football. They want to go and watch something that gives them hope that we're going to get somewhere as a team. But I just don't think that actually, like monetary wise, that you pay, really what you pay your season ticket is for is to support the club. It's because you support your club in it, and they know that. So the season tickets being put up, they're always going to get money, because even if one person says I don't want to renew it, another person's there in the line to say yes please. So
it's when you pay the amount that we pay, Mia, you expect some sort of quality on there, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I get it. I do get it.
Tired of fucking Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, for God's sake, yeah. So you expect some sort of quality in there.
Yeah, like I say, you don't pay. You pay for you want to see good, quality football, quality players, but you don't pay for an outcome, because you can't ever guarantee an outcome.
Agreed there.
But totally agree with that. No one said otherwise. It's more to the point of when you're paying the top fucking dollars. You know, when I go out there and go spend £100 on a pair of jeans, I expect a pair of fucking D&G or a pair of fucking Armani. I don't expect to go and get a pair of Primark fucking jeans for £100. And what we do at Spurs, we go and fucking go Primark and spend £100 on a pair of bloody jeans. And that's what we get. And then they fall apart in the wash within 2 washes. That is what we get at Spurs, basically. And if we got relegated, we'd still fill that fucking stadium up. That's what's annoying about it. I mean is all this real by Enoch what they're doing, or all they just covering or putting the wool over the eyes, basically? Just asking questions.
I think they're putting the wool over our eyes at the moment. I like I said, it's that crumbs analogy again for me. For me, they're giving me just like a quarter of an apple pie right now. I need after what they've got, after what they've made me feel how many years, right? I need a full course right now, and I'm not even started yet. You get what I'm saying?
Can we change apple pie to cherry, please? Because cherry pies are much nicer. I love a cherry pie.
Yeah, I'll do whatever you want, Mia. I'll give you whatever you want. But but the point I'm making is right. Okay, is just that it's not making me full. You know what I mean? You know, I'm told I need to be full by people. I've been told to say I need to be full because I've seen Richarlison do once in a lifetime goal that he'll never ever score in his whole life, right? And I see Tell. I need to be satisfied with Tell, right? I'm told to be that, but in my heart of hearts, I don't feel full.
So, Alex, in your opinion, what if at the end of this window, what would for you be a full course meal? Like, what would satisfy you to say you think that perhaps that things are moving forward with the club and that they're somewhat doing what's right by the club, although they have to continue it, obviously. But what would you say by the end of the season would be something that you'll be satisfied by?
Cool. With what Spurs
That's a
give
very
you,
good. That's a very good question, but I'm gonna answer it very unrealistically because it's what I want, right? And for me, only a few players stay at this club right now: Danzo, Kinski, Bentancur. I would have said Paulinho, but I think if you get Talali, I could let that go. And Gallagher. Other than that, every one of them would have gone. I've not done myself any favours because I should have done this on Mr. Box Office TV, so you got an exclusive, all right? But you know what I mean. So you know, I'm saying I'm being ruthless, and I'm only keeping Kinski because you know he should get reward for staying. But I wouldn't be giving him number one very quickly. No, I wouldn't be. You get what I'm saying? So that's me seeing the club change. I know that's unrealistic, but that's just me, right? Making it clear, putting it out there right now to everybody what my feelings on this squad is right now. So if you talk to me during the season and you see a player and you say, why are you having a go at that player? You see him at the beginning of the season, a video. How many players do they keep? Just saying. Just saying.
What about players coming in, Alex?
Players coming in. Okay, players coming in. So go on, Dan. What are you going to say?
That's why we need, and people know we are desperate to get rid of the players because we need to get players in. If we're going to get players in, we've already got a bulked-up squad basically, and that now it's coming back from injury, but players that we blatantly don't want there. That goes back to my point of we're just going to have to cut some losses on some players just to get them the fuck out, so we can get the new players in.
And for me to get them in, I think a couple of centre backs. Yeah, I think that was correct to do that. I would have got a left back in. I would have got two left backs in because I don't think they're good anyway. Two right backs because I don't like Porro. I think he's overrated. I would have got a striker.
I don't think Porro's overrated. I think Porro just don't get played to what he's strong at.
But how many years are we going to be keeping on saying that, Dan? I mean, I'll be married until I hear that, until I see something from him.
But you do see stuff to push it up the right hand side, basically, and play as a wing back like he has done once or twice, basically. But we all know he can't defend for shit.
Yeah, but we're saying that for how many years then, Dad? It's like, it goes back to what I said. I'll be married until I keep on hearing the same thing from this guy. You know what I mean? He might as well just go on a date and do the same things that he's done before. He's going to get nowhere. My point is anyway, yeah, right? Is that So I get two right backs. I need a defensive midfielder that is a deep line midfielder. Another midfielder as well.
A DM basically,
a number 10, like you're saying, two wingers that either inside forwards or one inside forward winger or a winger that can dribble and a striker.
So you're not asking for a lot.
Well.
So you're not asking a lot.
I'm just telling you what my thoughts.
Like if you're going to say that
two right backs.
Yeah.
I don't think two right backs on that one. I mean, I think we're pretty much covered there now, basically. Like at the back line, if anything, it's a couple we need to get rid of. I mean, again, like I said, I would let Porro go because we just don't play him the right way. Now, if I knew he was going to get used as a wing back, or like you said, Mia, earlier, they're going to let him press forward and then they cover it with a back three, I'm all game for keeping him. But if we're just going to play him as a right back, he's shit. Why does every team focus on him every bloody time? Focus down our right-hand side, totally cook Porro nearly game in, game out. It's what every team basically does with him. So if we're going to use him as a right back, I just don't see why, basically. But there's a lot of players that need to go. We need to get players in there as well. And to get the new players in, you've got to get the old players out as well.
I know it's not realistic what I've said, right? Because I think Mia was going to come back on something I've said and stuff. But it's not. I'm tired of being realistic because it's not, like, for me, that's up to the club to make that be realistic. I'm only saying what I feel anymore about this squad now, right? It's not about being realistic anymore because it's not my job. That's their job, right? And they need to prove me wrong. It's like, for instance, some of the strikers, some of the signs that we're making, yeah? I might think it's bang average. You know, I could class it as best, worst, or bang average. If I don't think it's best, I don't think it's worse, I look at it as bang average. It's quite simple. It's hard hitting for me,
So,
right? Straight to the point. So, but they
so
can prove to
Alex,
me that they're not that guy. You know what I mean? They've got to prove it, the player.
if they do a majority of the stuff that we think's probably going to happen, more than likely, like to be able to get the midfielders in that we're looking at, to get a striker, to get some winger, like a winger, maybe two wingers, and we do well, would that then show you that perhaps that things that they're planning, maybe they've got a plan in mind to try and gradually build up to, obviously getting like these players in, and it's going to take that bit of time. But if we do well next season with De Zerbi and he gets a majority of what he wants, would that then maybe somewhat not show you or prove to where you have to be on board, but would that maybe make you think, oh, okay, maybe there's something here?
No, because you know why? I'm going to do it like this, right? I'll give it like this, and this definition like this. I'm sorry to people that might have heard this before. I didn't like Pochettino at the start of this first season, right? I started liking him after the second season, and we were like a quarter of a way through, I think it was. I think we were heading into January, I think it was. And I saw a change there. I think that's the time when I'm going to start seeing some changes that I really say, yeah, this is where I think we can see something with Tottenham, right? I think this season could be either way. It could be a very good season because we have one game a week and we've got time to implement De Zerbi's thing, or it could just fall apart. I don't know. But it could be either one. It could be the one.
That's basically saying it's the same as any season, basically.
Exactly.
There's only one way we get worse at home, and there's only one way we do worse than last season, and that's get relegated. That is the only way it gets worse.
So this is why I'm saying I can't really just judge it on just this season, right? For the next season coming, because I think for me you can't do any worse for me. And also the teams that are coming up as well, I'm not sitting there getting frightened. I think the following season, though, depending on what we do this season, will tell me a lot. Okay? So, yeah, I'm going to be very much on the fence this season, I think, at the moment for me, because I was very much on the fence with Pochettino because I didn't like him when he started. And it's only when, after his second season, that's when I really, after halfway through his second season, that's when I started to get on board with him, because I then saw a trend. And I think you can only judge it after a couple of seasons with a manager. You know what I mean? I don't think this is going to last for me after his second season, I think.
We got to start somewhere, though, haven't we? Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm not saying we can't stop. We got to start somewhere, Dan. But I'm just saying, I think the trajectory of a team is not just judged on his first season; it's judged on the second season as well. I mean, if you really want to go there, looking at an example, look at Man United, Ten Hag, right? Ten Hag had a good first season.
Yeah, you get judged on every
first season. And then look at the second season after that. And then he won the FA Cup, but he really had a really bad season.
Yeah,
after
that's the same as anything. That's the same as anyone with football. It's not just us. That's how it works.
That's the point.
I reckon De Zerbi's going to hang about a bit longer because the contract we've actually given him is actually fucking shocking for what we're paying him. But we were that desperate that we put the 60 million down for the fucking manager. That desperate for it. It's another sign of how much we had to go because we were that desperate. So we had to pay that much more to get it. And plus, he knew he would have probably accepted 40 million, but he knew we were that desperate, and he could put us 60 million, or I'd just fuck off. That's what you do. That's what they're going to do with us. But we'll take it from there, and we'll see how it goes. I'm getting hungry now that everyone's talking about fucking apple pies and that. I'll go might see if I get my wife to make an apple pie, because I wouldn't say no to one now that you've spoke about them. As long as they got fucking Brussels
talking
sprouts in it.
back on the food, yeah, Brussels sprouts. I agree with Beth. I like Brussels sprouts, and pizza did not have pineapple on it. So big up to Beth, because she's absolutely 100% right.
No, she's not. She's wrong.
Pineapples
were made.
Sacrilege to all the Italian people. If they hear you say that, they would literally cry and be like, no, why you do this? Why? Like, they would not have it. Like, pizza, no.
Let them cry. I've got that in my blood anyway, so what do I give a fuck? Either way, right, thanks for everyone for watching. It's appreciated. Mia, you're doing a show soon. You've been doing live ones, so come on, people, get over to Mia's and give her a like and that. I think you're on 300 now to get onto 1,000. Coming to get onto 1,000. Going to start doing more live shows. Just put
I'm going to be doing a live every day, weekdays at 1 o'clock, and I also put my other videos out as well. So I do like other little videos, just like different topics and stuff, just 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes, like short videos. So yeah, if you don't mind giving those a watch, if you like what I have to say, give me a subscribe, because I like to have conversation with people. Like you'll see in the comments, I always reply to people in the comments. So it's good to have conversations with people that you agree with or you disagree with. Like me and Box Office don't always agree, but it's like a mutual respect thing. Like I respect other people's have different opinions. It's only if you're rude to me, then that might become an issue. But if like everyone keeps it civil, I like good conversations.
Good confrontations. Alex, any shows coming up soon, mate?
No shows. I've been putting spoilers out what I'm doing though. Best, worst, and bang average. Top
videos?
5. Yeah, that's what's coming soon on the channel. So yeah, that's what's coming soon on signings and stuff and rumors. What my thoughts are on the signings so far, and the rumors are coming up soon as well. And also, just so I can make it absolutely clear what I feel about this squad, keep, sell, and loan is coming soon as well. Just give me an idea of what I feel.
Box Office's keep, sell, loan would be sell, the whole squad, basically.
Probably, yeah. That you give me a little bit too much of a spoiler there, Mia, man. You're giving away the video, giving away anything.
I think a few people have that attitude there as well, because I think
I'm joking.
There and say genuinely, if we sold anybody at that club, would you be genuinely that bothered? There's obviously some that you'd rather keep than get rid of, and that. I mean, like Van der Ven, he's one you'd rather keep, whatever. And obviously Kudus. Maddison, I can't really say I'd be bothered if he went or not, because he's just too broken, basically. But if he's fit, I'd obviously want to keep him. But there's really not many players there you'd be that bothered if they left. That's the lowest standards we've come to, basically. But anyone, go and enjoy your day, go have a beer, whatever else, and catch up with everyone later. Cheers for watching. Alex, Mia, take care of yourselves. Speak to everyone soon.
Take care, everyone.
Gotta do hella big, gotta party back up.